Alrighty, how is everyone doing? Lovely to see you all on this midweek session for a live stream. Yeah, rare to see a stream at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. here on east coast of Australia. Not sure what time it is elsewhere in the world, but we thought we'd shake things up a bit because we missed a stream previously. I've got one to make up for, and I've had this interesting idea and opportunity to do something a little bit different with the streams. And I enjoy shaking things up a little bit and trying out some different formulas. So this is going to be the first of what hopefully becomes a bit of an on-again, off-again series, where we actually take a look at some games created by members of the community. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing without all of you wonderful people and the support that you provide, and not just that, but the encouragement that you've given to be able to press on and do this mad challenge channel thing that I do. So I kind of feel like I want to be able to give back to the community, and I've previously been able to do that with some giveaways on the channel. Heads up, more of those coming in December, keep an eye out. But I also realized that we've kind of formed this interesting community of game developers that have caught on to the channel, and I see comments all the time of people saying, oh, you know, I love watching the videos because they give me really great guidance on what not to do with the game that I'm making. So I'm like, all right, why don't we try taking that a step further? So today we have a game submitted by Strak, a member of our community, and today we're going to be taking a look at his, or I don't know pronouns, so apologies, their game, Thrall, which is interestingly an RPG Maker game, but reading the description on itch, I was very, very curious about what they've managed to do with this game. Because there's a lot of randomly generated content and a lot of roguelite mechanics that have been built into it, and it feels like they're doing something a little different to what you would normally see done in an RPG Maker. So I'm curious to see how this engine's handling it, and I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. Thank you, Strak, appreciate that. Yeah, I realized I'm like, I should have checked your pronouns beforehand. All good. So yeah, we'll see how this goes in terms of like a time slot for being able to do these streams. These might not be a consistent weekly stream either, because real life tends to interfere more with weekends than any other time of week. Weekdays than any other time of week. But also, these won't be able to doable if we've got content from you, the audience, to be able to actually take a look at. Now, one thing I want to preface this with is this music was not high tension by choice. This is the title music for today's game. It just happens to give that vibe. Today, we are not so much looking at the game to like fully critique it in the same way that we would other games that we would normally review on the channel, but it's more to have a productive conversation, is to have a look at the game, explore what's working and what doesn't work, and to be able to give some feedback. I definitely don't want to be super critical of the game, and not just because, oh, it's a member of the community, but because most of the time when we get these games submitted, they're going to still be very much works in progress. So we want to, you know, take it for what it is. We want to be thinking about the potential of the game and what it could be offering, and see if we can give some guidance and pointers to kind of make sure that it continues to move in the right direction, and call out, hopefully, and praise some of the wonderful thing that's actually happening in the game as it currently stands, because more than anything, I love innovation, doing something just a little different, or just doing one thing and doing it really, really freaking well. I'm always happy to see that in the games to look at. Now, the biggest disclaimer that I can put on any of this is that obviously I am not a game developer, just someone very, very passionate about games, and I have opinions on things. Apparently opinions which most of you tend to kind of agree with, so that seems to be working in my favor. But yeah, I always want to just preface it by saying I am not a game dev, so there might be some things which I just simply don't catch or don't notice. But hopefully we're still able to have a good conversation around it. And what I would like to see as well is in the chat, as we play through, I would love to be able to have you guys actually point out some things that you're seeing in the gameplay as well. The first question that comes to my mind for Strak, because I know you're hanging out in the chat here, and thank you for your comment there saying be as critical as you want. Genuinely appreciate any feedback. Do my best on there. Curious to know, for the music that we're hearing now and other tracks in the game, are these ones that you've sourced and licensed from places, or are these original compositions that you've actually created? Would very much like to know where we stand on that. And I think on that note, we're going to dive into it. Thankfully, I have remembered how to put RPG Maker into full screen mode. It just doesn't play nice with 2 monitors, so apologies. You get to see my desktop for a sec, and then we should be into the game. There we go. The fun part is, though, it affects what's on my second monitor. It pushes everything down slightly. I don't quite know why. So I might not see the most recent chat message. I can't change anything on there now. It's kind of stuck because every time I click back into it, RPG Maker does RPG Maker things. Let's leave it that way. Music is somewhat placeholder. Music is sourced from Feslian Studios. Very cool. I'm assuming you've credited them somewhere. Only one way to find out. Now, what I will say is I love the custom title screen here. The use of colors is very striking and very thematic. So you've gone for whites, greys, blacks, and reds. And I like that it's consistent in both the background with the red river flowing through it, particle effects on the screen, outline of the text in the title, and outline of the text in the menu. That is good artistic consistency. The question is this a color theme that is going to continue through the rest of the game? Only one way to find out. Let's go. New game. Which way around are my buttons? Okay, circle is accept. Nice. Enable tutorials. Yes, I will enable tutorials. Let's see what your tutorials have to offer. Hey, Sander, how's it going? Strak, it's a free resource, which is great for devs. Apologies if the video gets demonetized. Not a problem. We're not here to make money with these. We're here to give feedback and be constructive. Music's free to use for creative works. Awesome. Yeah, real great ones know it's the afternoon. It's still evening. It's all good. Technically even, 7 p.m. I'm using a controller, and it is working. Absolutely. All right, we will watch the introduction. Press and hold C to skip dialogue. No, I don't have a C button. I don't know. I'm using the controller. It's working. Ooh, okay. Love that the dark tones of the title have carried through straight away into an evening tone in the game. Now, this is where I'm going to show a bit of a lack of my... You deliberately disabled the controller. Well, it's working. What can I tell you, mate? I downloaded the latest version off the website, so I don't know what to tell you. I'm too powerful to be disabled. See, this is why I'm thinking one of the things we need to have on the bingo for the Wheel of Fortune is chat is funnier than Grail, because that happens consistently. You've got some great one-liners, guys. But yes, loving that the darker tone continues through. I was saying I don't think I've got enough game dev knowledge to be able to recognize if the sprites and assets being used are original creations or potentially sourced from elsewhere, but I'm loving the variety in the models of the trees on the side. So often you play games and you just see like the same maybe 2 to 3 models copy pasted time and time again, but already what you've done here with the layering, and I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or more different sprite models that are on there, which is really good to see. Every copy's personalized. Hell yes. As long as mine gets a signature from Strak, and I'm happy. Alright. Plus, I'm going to say, I like the little profile picture cutout down the bottom left to signify which character's talking as well. That's a nice touch. Because otherwise, if you just had text box with Brutus as a name, I would have to guess it's one of 2 male characters, but I wouldn't necessarily know which one. But this lets me instantly go, oh, orange hair in the portrait, it's got to be this guy on the left. Perfect. It's just really clear visual design. It's like in an instant, your brain just goes, right, I've made that association. I know who's talking. He should have been back by now. Give him time. Yeah, and there we go. White hair on the portrait. Perfect. He's never let me down before. Also appreciate that you haven't spread those lines over separate text boxes. It's like incremental within the same text box. And yes, Raven, I agree. The actual lighting effects is a nice touch. Tell you what, did not see that in Arcane Rays. Yeah, the little bastard's strong, but doesn't take much to knock him over. I bet he's lying in a ditch right now. Brutus. Consistent with the portraits. Great stuff. Damien's one of the most capable men I know. He won't be taken down so easily. So we've introduced Brutus and Damien as additional characters, okay? Aha! Who is just hiding behind? Okay, nice way to already start some of the character interactions off. We're feeling the relationship between them already. It's about time. You like keeping us waiting? Brutus. Lay off him. Okay, hang on. No, sorry, I've got it backwards. My character's Brutus. I misread that. I'm an idiot. Security was lighter than I expected, so I scouted a little deeper than we'd planned. I had to take my time getting out so as not to get caught. Yeah? And what happens when you find yourself in too deep and all alone? You keep fucking around like this and you'll get yourself killed. And when that happens, I sure as hell won't be the one to get your body back. Already sets a slightly more mature tone for the story. And again, I like that because that's consistent with the title. I know we're already kind of like analyzing a lot of very little niche details here, but it's something that I always find there's a bit of cognitive dissonance when you have bright and cheery title screen followed by dark and somber intro cutscenes. Like, well, that just gave me whiplash. So the fact that you've been consistent through it actually makes a lot of sense. In terms of, like Sanders addressed it there, the use of real life swears entering their way into games, I'm kind of on the fence around it. I think it depends on how it's used and the tone that you're going for. You see a lot of fantasy style games that will invent their own swear words for things. I think some of the Elder Scrolls games do that from memory. I remember they have like racial slurs in that game that are made up. So that helps it feel more in-universe, but can create a bit of disconnect for the player. So I think is only appropriate to use depending on the length of your game. Using real-life swear words, I don't mind it. Games like The Witcher do that. And I think it feels appropriate for a game that's maybe a bit grittier and more founded in reality. So I think it's going to depend on the tones of the game going forward. Yeah, it's foreshadowing something. The music as well is very foreboding. I quite like it. Strak tried to add a bit more of a mature approach, but I had to really toe the line for how much profanity was effective for the theme, but not over the top. Yeah, absolutely. You can't go too wild with it or it loses its impact. You've got to use it sparingly. The only thing I will mention, I'm not sure I can... Yeah, I can't actually move my mouse, so I can't indicate this. Got nowhere to show you where it is on screen other than try and describe it, but if you look at the clump of grass that is down and to the left from Brutus, and then follow like the right edge of it all the way down. So you're kind of looking at that left edge of the path. There is a little triangle of green pixel that looks like there's maybe a grass sprite that's slightly hidden behind something. It's just, I've just noticed it and now my eyes are latched onto it. It's, yeah, just up above the word you. If you go directly up from there, you'll see the little green triangle. Yeah, and what happens when you find yourself in too deep and all alone? You keep fucking around like this and you get yourself killed. And when that happens, I sure as hell won't be the one to get your body back. Brutus! Enough. Take a walk, you're not helping. He's worse than usual today. He knows what we're facing and he doesn't take it lightly. I don't blame him for being on edge. Anyway, enough of this. Damien, what are we dealing with? New bloods. 2, maybe 3 at most? Nothing more dangerous than that from what I can tell, but they've got a horde of thralls with them. What? That doesn't make any sense. That village we saw was completely destroyed. There was nobody left. Okay, nice. Already creating some conflict in the story. There's no way a couple of new bloods could have done that. I know. I was expecting a master or maybe even a lord, but there's no sign of anything like that, and there isn't enough space or equipment for more than a few of them. Damien, I don't know about your assessment, but what makes you think that? Why only new bloods? It's the Thralls. They're the missing villagers we were looking for. They're all accounted for, and all of them are Thralls. None of them have been turned, not even one. So a master or lord wouldn't waste time like that. If they could have turned some of them, they would have. New bloods can't turn, they can only enthrall. Exactly. It looks like this will be easier than we thought. We can handle new bloods, and any thralls they've made won't be strong enough to pose much of a challenge for us. It's kind of nice. We're already kind of jumping into some of the lore. We're getting a feeling for like, okay, there's different classes of whatever these new bloods or bad guys are, and we're getting a sense for our group's level of capabilities. They're like, oh, we could take on these ones, but if it was a lord, no, we'd run. So it gives you a bit of a grounding as to what their capability is. Nice little bit of world building. Yeah, all the proper nouns. Got to do a little bit of expedition dump at the start. I think a lot of that is unavoidable. Bato Potato, how you doing? Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. I'm sure it'll be a lovely little stream. Is it the Metaphor Refantasio game you keep hearing about? Unless this is all a metaphor for something bigger and larger, unfortunately not the case. No, this is too easy. We're missing something. Doesn't matter. We can't turn back now. We found the villagers and we found the vampires. Okay, now this is the thing that I would say is I think this is the first instance of the word vampire being used. If that had been used earlier, we would have had a bit more context for understanding that the nouns, as Sanders put it, the proper nouns, were classifications of vampire. That was maybe a contextual clue that I was missing, because I was like, okay, we're talking about thralls, could be talking about zombies, could be some kind of lick or necromancer that's raising the dead. Nope, we're looking at vampires. Cool, good to know. Now we finished the job. I agree. So, what's the plan, Lionel? Alright, all regrouping, like seeing a little bit of movement on screen as well, keeps it dynamic. We go in hard and fast. Once we break through the gate, we'll split up into two groups to make this quick. Brutus, you and Mel clear the courtyard. Damien and I will enter the fort itself and eliminate anything inside. Once we've secured the area, we'll regroup outside the main tower before facing the new bloods. Is everyone clear? I'm ready. Let's do it. Got it. Alright, let's move out. Alright, and that was just the right length as well. It was starting to get into that territory where it's like, a little too much chit chat, let me get into the action. So I'm going to be serious, like, where my mind goes is, how long does it take before it gets to the point where I as a player get to actually decide something? Whether it be a dialogue choice, movement, combat, whatever it is, something that is not progress the text. That's always like on my mind, because that's what's going to get your players to drop out too soon. Scene changes definitely help to retain a little bit of that player interest as well. Alright, Damien, you're up. Get that gate open. On it. Nice. Little cutscene, that's cute. Love the climbing animation. You could have gone straight up, but you didn't. You did a little bit of zigzag side to side to kind of showcase them navigating the tree. Nice touch. You two ready? What do you think? We're ready, Lionel. As soon as that gate opens, we'll clear the way for you and Damien. Perfect. Mel, do you have the notes from our last raid? Of course. Seems as though thralls are nothing special, mostly just cannon fodder for the vampires. This actually gives a nice little bit of extra context. We're just learning about them. So are these thralls and vampires a new threat that's only recently appeared? The new bloods could be a bit more of a threat, however. I think there was a word missing there. I think that said bit more a threat. Unfortunately, I can't go back on the text, but Strak might want to make a quick note there to double check that line. Should be, I think, a bit more of a threat. Might have missed it. Might have just been me reading too fast. The ones we fought last time had recently fed, so they had some minor regeneration, although fire seemed especially effective against them. Perfect! Little tutorial through exposition. Someone could absolutely just button mash and skip through this and miss it. They could, I'm willing to bet, probably still get through the first fight, but it shows that it actually pays to read and pay attention, because you will get useful information. Fire is effective against vampires. I'll keep that in mind. Just be careful. I know we're missing something, so keep your eyes peeled. Don't want to lose you two. As for the third one, I don't care. Voila! After you. Thank you very much. We'll lead the way. I also get the sense at this stage, like, there's no designated main character, which is kind of nice. It's a proper party of 4. It's not like, oh, there's a main character which is like your protagonist plus 3 others. These are 4 established characters, at least so far. Hey, Mel, have you got your abilities primed? No, not yet. Better do that before we get started then. I mean, maybe useful to do that before you enter the big compound, but alright. That's just plot thing. I need to as well. Alright, tutorial. Every party member has action skills that can be unlocked from the menu. To access these skills, open the menu and scroll over to skills. Makes sense. Then select the member whose skill trees you would like to view. The skills at the top of the tree are action skills and unlock new abilities that can be used in combat. The remainder of the skills are passive skills and will affect various character traits. Each skill costs a certain number of skill points to unlock, and you'll get more points when you level up. Action skills do not require skill points, however, and can be unlocked immediately. So what do they cost to level up then? They don't need skill points. Okay, we'll have to have a look at this. Brutus, Damien, and Lionel each have 1 action skill, but Mel is unique, having 3 action skills. All 3 can be unlocked right away. In addition, you have 1 skill point that can be spent on a first tier skill. Use them wisely, they cannot be reallocated until later in the game. Now, this is feeling like a little bit too much text in this section to explain the mechanic. Might be good to have the player kind of move through it. So start explaining skills and then prompt them to open the skill menu. Once they've got it open, additional text appears which starts to explain what they can see on screen. Because at the moment I'm getting this pretty thorough explanation about the different types of skills, but I've got no visual reference for what I'm looking at, no frame of reference yet. Take a moment now to explore the skill trees and unlock the action skills for both Mel and Brutus. Okay, perfect, exactly like this. Bring this up and then tell me a bit more about the skills. That's what I would like to see. So we can go to skills here, let's have a look at Mel. So Mel will have 3 at the top that I can unlock. I can see down the bottom I've got 1 skill point, fantastic, and that Mel is level 1. So I can boom, aha, and then the ones underneath, those cost skill points. Okay. No, yep, there and there. So I have Fire Burst, Ice Burst, and Shock Burst. Consistent with the naming, I like that. I am curious because we've gone Fire Damage and Burn, Ice Damage and Freeze, all makes sense so far, and then Shock Damage and Seize. I'm guessing, well, I could make a guess, but when I read Seize and I think about lightning, I associate it with my gaming knowledge. I would assume Seize is something either the same or similar to paralysis. It gives them a seizure, just drop to the ground and have spasms. Okay, and then these are passives underneath. Now, the part that I'm not 100% sure on is, are skill points per character, or are they shared? Okay, we'll go skills Brutus. Okay, so Brutus only gets 1. Rage. Oh boy. Poor guy. Rage. Attack uncontrollably. Grants plus 30% damage and plus 20% dexterity for 30 turns. There is no reason not to use that at the start of combat. So here we also have 1 skill point. So Axeman. No. Axeman. Grants 10% damage with axes. Grants 20% damage for 15 turns after missing an attack. Interesting. Ferocity, 20% damage while Rage is active. Okay. Plus 10 turns to Rage's duration. 20% defense while burning. And killing an enemy gives yourself the burn status. Okay, I mean, I can see the synergy between the two. And I like that you've given each of the skill trees descriptions as well. Very helpful. Gives you a sense for the vibe of each of those trees. Okay. Strak, I'm really not trying not to explain anything in the chat. I kind of want you to have a pure experience if possible. Appreciate that. Yeah, probably best not to. Makes the feedback more useful. Absolutely. If I ask a direct question, something like, oh, is Seize the same as paralysis? Feel free to answer that. But otherwise, it is probably just me voicing my thoughts. Don't stress too much. If something's poorly explained, that's just something I need to improve. Absolutely. You'll get to watch me make mistakes and you go, oh, okay, how can I design that in a way that someone as dumb as Grael doesn't do the same thing again? So, again, I've got a little bit of knowledge about RPGs. I can see where this is going. I'm going to go put some points into plus 20% damage while Rage is active. That just sounds so useful considering that it's going to be a core skill that I'm using all the freaking time. Alright, I can also see here that there is a save button. It is not usable. We have settings. Let's have a quick peek. I can adjust background music, sound effects. I'm assuming that's background sounds. Again, not everyone might be familiar with that acronym, so you've got space at the top of the screen to potentially, I believe, give a bit more of an explanation to elaborate on that. So you could, rather than just saying adjust BGS volume, maybe something slightly more custom to say adjust the sound, adjust the volume of background noises and ambience. I'm assuming that's what it does. ATB speed. Okay, so that tells me we do have proper active time battle system. Yeah, we've got mode adjusting between active and wait. Yeah, off by default, which is kind of interesting. I spotted that at the same time as you, Sander. It's by default in wait mode, which weirdly enough is actually my preference. When I played through games like Final Fantasy 5, 6, 7, and even 8, and 9, they all use an ATB system. I actually prefer wait mode because it gives you don't feel like you're being punished for having to navigate a menu. That always frustrated me a little bit because quite often you'd be like, oh, I just need to like use an item or cast a spell. Too bad that meter keeps ticking up while you're navigating menus. So yeah, I think having it on wait by default makes sense. Move it to active if you want a little bit more of a challenge. However, once again here, there's no explanation for it. Now, maybe that comes a little bit later in the tutorial, but it would also be nice to see that in the settings menu. Zari, hello! First live that you've joined. Welcome. Glad that you could make it. We are just getting started with Strak's game Thrall, which is an interesting little RPG maker game with some unique mechanics. We are breaking down some bits and pieces, and this whole stream is about giving a little bit of critique and feedback, so feel free to have a look because you might spot something that I completely miss as we're going through. And yes, this is what I mean. So if we're having a look at auto kill and auto dash, those have more detailed explanations at the top of the screen, so there's absolutely opportunity to do that with these first 5 settings, and I'd love to see that. Just help people out. Got to think about accessibility. Auto kill automatically kills underleveled enemies in dungeons. I've not seen that feature in a game before, but I quite like that. I'm guessing this is from the aspect of trying to eliminate some of the grind that you might have in the late game. Automatic dash is on by default, which is an interesting choice, but I don't mind that. Autosave, ooh, also autosave, very cool. Saves upon returning to the keep. Font between stylish and readable. I'm leaving that on stylish. You've picked a very nice font. It's still quite readable, but also very thematic, so I quite like it. Window size, ooh, also adjustable. Picture quality may decrease with larger sizes. We're going to leave that as is. I've already full screened it for everyone, and it looks like it's actually coming through quite fine on the stream. It's a little bit blocky on my end, but on the stream it actually smooths it out and looks even better. You missed there's vampires, absolutely. And Mato Matu. Welcome, good to see you, my friend. We do have some accessibility settings though, which is quite nice. So we do have a colorblind mode with different versions as well. Love that. Great thing to include. Even some high-end AAA games don't go to that level, so thank you. That's actually really nice to see. Rarity symbols. Okay, nice. But otherwise, I'm guessing the bit underneath indicates that there is color coding for the different loot as well. Love that. Okay, so far, very cool. Very nice menu. Gonna get high praise and high score for your menus, I think. Also, immediately noticed that there is an overdrive bar, which is good to be hopefully explained, but I guess we'll find out. Now, the thing I wanted to double check before we progress, I've used the skill point for Brutus. Does Mel also have a skill point? She does. So skill points are per character and are not pooled and shared across everyone. So let's just pick a passive here and then we'll get back into the game. Yeah, some kind of limit break, I'm guessing, from the sound of it. Augmented, extra damage with elemental weapons. Activated, increases chance of applying statuses. Okay, so become a bit of a debuffer. Rapid fire, reduces cooldown by 2 turns. Intensity, plus 20% damage with a burst, which were these 3. Barrier, 20% resistance, or immunity. I think let's focus on the mage tree. We're going to go plus 20% damage, so we can do some big burst hits to start with. That sounds like fun. Now, if I had more time, I was playing on my own, I actually probably would read through the rest of the skill tree to get a feeling for how some of this stuff is going to synergize, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We've got more important things to do. Yeah, and actually, Sander, that's a good point. Good call out. Hang on, let's go back to that for a sec. There. This, yeah, increases chance of applying status with elemental weapons. Hard to feel the impact and value when it doesn't give something more specific. Even changing it's like doubles the chance or 50% increased chance, whatever it might be, definitely helpful to include it, because what you'll probably find is with slightly vague wording like that, most players won't go for it. Especially when here you've got grants plus 10% crit chance. You've used percentages in other areas. Here, duration is halved. Removes for 5 turns. Yeah, 20% overdrive. That feels like it could use a little bit more explanation on that one. Great shout out, Sander. Okay, and then let's just quickly check. Have we got any items? We have an orange and 2 grapes. Okay. Oh, and I actually appreciate that you've included the sell price down the bottom as well. Very nice. Good touch. Okay. Well, ooh. Do I have a choice of which character I play as? Maybe. I don't seem to be able to change my party setup, at least not what I can see here. So, that's fine. We are Mel. Let's go. Oh, yeah, so that's definitely a run speed. Hello. Don't mind me. I'm just going to come over here and take this. Sword hat and a death bloom. It's a horrible scent that calms minions and thralls. Okay. Right, well, I found a hat. Can I put a hat on someone? Equip. I think Mel might want one. Mel has a club. Interesting. As a magic-focused character, I would have expected something like a wand or a staff. Club was an interesting choice. Can I put a hat on you? Gives extra defense, resistance, evasion, and HP. Interesting. Equipment affects your max HP as well. I don't seem to have a button that lets me toggle between characters without going in and out of the menu, but that might be because I'm trying to play on a controller. If I press A or S, yes, that allows me to move between them. It's just the controller that doesn't do it. Yeah, a wand in this economy. What is a club? It's not a small staff. It's a thick staff, is what it is. So we have a hatchet or a sword. The sword does more damage, but slightly less. Why would I not change to that? That's a no-brainer, right there. Nothing there. Okay. Did I pick up that sword, or was it already there? Interesting. And does that mean you can now use the hatchet? You could. Slightly less accuracy, more dexterity. Why not? Here you go. Mel, have a hatchet. You can cast plenty of magic with the power of an axe. What do we got? Oh, there we go. Great sword, fire bombs. Now, I don't know anything other than what I read in the description, but I would love to know if I'm just getting lucky finds or if these chests are predetermined, because that's something quite cool. Just boom, have a long great sword. Job done. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, hang on. Go back. Equip there. We had a spear as well, which is a more dex-focused weapon. Interesting. Seriously, what the hell is the controller working? I still don't know. So Strak, you said, I mean, that's a decent find, not gonna lie. So I'm guessing that those chests were actually at least somewhat randomized, which is kind of cool. I wasn't expecting like the first couple to be that way. usually in a game, the first couple of chests are like, oh, well, this is predetermined loot. And then you kind of, no, from there onwards it might change. Oh, there's our staff. There we go. Lucky cloak, and we got some boots as well. Look at us go. And who was mentioned there? Raven. Yes, absolutely agree. Colored stat changes. Thank you. That is such a huge quality of life thing that so many people overlook, is just being able to go, where's a good example? Here. Immediately I can go down the bottom section, defense going from 4 to 5, evasion from 9 to 15. Yes, going to be better there. I can see the increases and decreases straight away. Although it does just say less crit in text, and that has me slightly concerned. Less crit for who? The person wearing it, or the person, like, which way does that go? Mel's wearing clothes, Brutus is wearing a cloak in that slot. Does that mean he's not wearing clothes under the cloak? I mean, if your cloak's wrapped around you like a sheet, do you need clothes underneath it? Probably not. You'll be fine. Alright, there you go. Put a lucky cloak on. You're good. And I can go straight to there. So he's just wearing a cape. Oh, that has got a big gap at the front, actually. Brutus, no one really likes you, and I think we might have figured out why. So, -2 health for +2 resistance. Yeah, that's worth it. And we'll give you some boots to bump your defense up a little bit as well, because you're obviously meant to be more of a tanky character. None of these weapons are particularly better. That's fine. Okay. No, don't. We're not going barehanded. We're not going full monk. Not today. So, let's talk to one of these people. Hello. Brutus, look. Looks like it doesn't even see us. Yoo-hoo! Yoo-hoo! Summer blowout! Hi, over here. Quit messing around and kill the damn thing. Alright, behold, combat. In the words of Josh Strife Hayes, Thrall emerged. Okay, yes, now we get an ATB explanation. However, I'm afraid, Strak, you have committed a cardinal sin. You have used an acronym before explaining what the acronym stands for. The very first time it appears, spell out in full, and then use the acronym afterwards. Should always be active time battle gauge, and then you can do in brackets ATB. And then from there onwards, they should know what ATB stands for. Depending on how many acronyms you've got in your game, you may want a dedicated glossary section so that people can refer back to it later as well. Okay. ATB gauges will automatically fill. When a gauge is completely filled, the battler can take an action. That battler is interesting terminology. We'll see if you continue to use it, but I would almost just say that character can take an action. It's an interesting choice to refer to an in-game character as a battler instead. Like you're making some kind of... Maybe there's non-battler NPCs that can end up in battle. If that's the case, then battler absolutely makes sense to use. Harry Greenfeld, good morning from the UK. This is a great idea. Not that feel other YouTubers should steal your idea, but this is a great idea. Thank you, Harry. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. If I'm being totally honest, I haven't stolen this idea, but I've definitely borrowed bits and pieces from other YouTubers that I see around the place. And it was Jack's Films that actually gave me a little bit of inspiration for this, because he's doing a bit of a series of featuring and highlighting other YouTubers. They send their content into him, he features it in live streams and videos. I figured we could do something different, but take a little bit of, pay homage to that. Why do the enemies already have half health? Good question. I don't think that's actually health, because you will see down the bottom for Mel and Brutus, our health bars are red. I think that is the ATB gauge. So, when it's completely filled, they will take an action. Let's see, is it going to demonstrate it? When a character is ready to take an action, a cursor will appear over their head. If the cursor is shaped like a star, thank you, you used the symbol as well to demonstrate it, that's perfect. That character has an action skill ready to use. After using an action skill, the skill will go on cooldown once the effect wears off? What effect? After the action is performed, is that what we mean to say there? While on cooldown, a timer will appear next to the name of the skill, indicating how many turns must pass before the skill can be used again. Cool, perfect, easy explanation. And also, sorry if I'm being a bit pedantic about this, I do have a bit of a background in training, so the way things are explained is quite important to me. Yeah, ATB gauge, HP's red, absolutely. Also, what was the chef and the little German boy reference? I absolutely missed that. Yeah, there's a lot of stat min-maxing going on when we don't even know how combat works. Absolutely. Do you have one criticism thus far? Structurally, I feel like there shouldn't have been a battle before all these stat introductions. It's a small one-throw battle. I do kind of agree with you there, Naive Melody. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you know a Lucifer as well? Have I got things mixed up? Apologies if I'm thinking of someone else. But no, I do kind of agree with that. It almost feels like after the explanation about the skills and abilities and how they work. Oh, Nick. Hello, Nick. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, I've got myself mixed up. Nick in the disc. Oh, yes. Hello. Thank you for stopping by, fellow Aussie. Good to see you, mate. Sydney Snyder, if I remember correctly. There we go. Sorry, what was I saying? Yes. It feels like it would have actually made sense for there to be like an immediate piece of conflict with one of the enemies maybe approaching us and going into a forced battle. And then allowing the player to explore and collect items afterwards. Potentially even give the player an item, as like scripted item, as part of the result of the first bit of combat, and that gives you a way to maybe explain some stats and things if you feel the need to as well. Okay, every action taken counts as one turn. When skills are on cooldown or while character is seized, the cursor will change to an arrow shape. Okay. The last note about combat is how to escape. Certain battles such as this one cannot be escaped, but most dungeon encounters can. To escape a battle, press and hold button until the escape gauge has been completely filled. Okay. Interesting. What was I going to say there? The only other thing that's like jumping out to me at the moment is that the enemies we're facing here do not even remotely resemble the enemy that we saw on the actual field map. However, I really like the artistic design of this battlefield because you've kept the play area map that we were exploring as the background and overlaid a more zoomed in stylistic field over the top that matches the current environment. That is a very nice touch and I appreciate it because I know that that's not how basic RPG Maker works. So you've clearly customized it and I absolutely want to give you praise for that because it's deserved. However, I'm so sorry to do this to you, Strak. Although the bars down the bottom of the screen, I think, are very clear with their color coding, I would like to see something slightly more thematic with the colors that we're seeing there. Sorry, not with the colors, with the design of the bars. I think they're very clear and readable. Probably don't want to go too overboard with it, but everything else has been really nicely stylized. So the bars just being like slight, like oblongs, the parallelograms, technically. It feels a little simple compared to everything else. Alright, that's all there is to know about combat for now. Now give it a try. Perfect. Alright, so, yep, we can clearly see our abilities, and I love the marker, plus the flash indicates which character is about to take their action, and you've even highlighted it down below in the stat bar. So that makes it super clear to know which character is about to take an action, so thank you. Love that there are some explanations of skills here as well. Doubles the number of hits each at 40% damage. Wonderful. Let's try a spell because there doesn't appear to be any MP. These are just on a cooldown. Don't know what that little red bar is, but we're going to hit them with fire because they said fire was effective. Boom. Perfect. Dead. You love to see it. And then if we weaken rage, because Brutus is a very angry, angry man. And then we'll do a regular attack. See how that goes. Yeah, perfect. Dead. Okay, it took me a second to figure out what I was looking at, but I appreciate that when you hover over the enemy, it actually briefly brings up their health bar so that you can see where they're... Naive Melody, that's what you're referring to with the little German boy. It took me way too long. Okay, and we got some extra XP. Plus, we looted a katana. Okay, and an extra hat. Wonderful. looks like it was carrying some decent stuff. Yes! So this is probably what should be playing immediately after the first scripted fight. Carrying some decent stuff. Really? All this loot seems somewhat mediocre if you ask me. What are you talking about? You don't know how to compare loot? Oh dear, I guess I better walk you through it. Oh, for perfect. Anytime, yes. And so this demo you're giving here, explaining loot and different rarities, this is what I would have loved to have seen, showing the explanation for how abilities work. Okay. Anytime you win a battle or open a chest, this window will open, displaying all the loot that you found. Loot from enemies and chests will display on the left, and anything that you have will be displayed on the right. For the loot side, everything will be displayed at once. However, you will only see what you have in your inventory based on your selected category. To change between weapons, armors, or items, press A or S. If you want to compare an item to what you already have equipped, press Q. This will open a comparison window. While the comparison window is open, the stats of the item you're examining will be displayed at the bottom of the screen. Love it. Weapons will have damage, dex, accuracy, and crit stats. Again, most people familiar with RPGs will know what those acronyms stand for. Might be somewhere that you want to have that explained. Now, it could be that you just leave this as is, and maybe have it that when you open a menu, you've got the ability to hover over the stats and press the button to see a bit more of an explanation of what that stat is. That way it can be referred back to whenever the player wants, and it doesn't get in the way or make your tutorial feel too bulky. So you could say, weapons will have damage, dex, accuracy, and crit stats. To see more information about what each of these stats impact or affect, do this. Yeah? And this is the explanation that you started to go into here, but you could actually really streamline this by having that explanation put somewhere else. That way your forced tutorial isn't any larger than it needs to be. Damage determines how much damage the weapon does, dex determines how fast your ATB gauge will fill or how often you can attack. Accuracy determines how likely it is that your attack will hit, and crit determines the probability of landing a critical hit, dealing triple damage. Armors, on the other hand, will have defense, resistance, HP, and evasion stats. Defense determines your resistance to physical damage, whereas resistance determines your resistance to magical attacks. Makes sense. HP determines the amount of hit points you have. Evasion determines your chance of dodging a physical attack. Dodging attacks means you won't take any damage at all. However, magical attacks cannot be dodged. Yeah, that's a good little bit of explanation to include. Green numbers indicate an improvement over your currently equipped item, and red numbers indicate a stat decrease. Perfect. Certain other information, such as weapon modifiers or elements, will also be displayed. To change which party member you're viewing, use the left and right arrow keys. Sander, I feel like just making this fight mandatory when you enter would fix a lot of the small structural issues. I agree. Naive Melody, there should have been a stray Thrall by the gate. You have no skills or special abilities. Then he drops a ring. Cue inventory tutorial. Move inside, have a few battles to accustom the player. Yeah. You accustom the player to what the combat is without skills before introducing skills after clearing out this area. Yeah, kind of agree with that. Raven, you could also level up and unlock a skill point for each character so you know how that'd look, but not super, once it doesn't make sense for the setting. I agree with that, because it gives more immediate reward and feedback for the combat as well. So you could go, first fight, here's your items, we'll teach you about the inventory and stats. Now clear out the rest of the courtyard so that we can get into the castle. Once everything's dead, congratulations, you earned enough XP, you got your first level up, here's your first skill point, here's how skills work. Beautiful. That would be a really nice flow. Really nice flow. Alright. You don't have to take everything. Anything you leave behind will be salvaged, however. Salvaged weapons and armors will be turned into materials that can be used to craft new items later on. Items cannot be salvaged and will be discarded. Okay, got it. Items and equipment, there's a difference there. You can use this to salvage anything you're carrying that you don't want anymore. Simply use the arrow keys to navigate over to your inventory and select the item you'd like to salvage. Okay, so you can salvage later as well. When you're done, press X to leave the window. If there is loot left behind, you'll be prompted to confirm whether or not you're done. At any time during gameplay, you can change these controls and prompts by selecting controls from the system menu. You may assign any letter or number key as well as spacebar. Okay. Does that all make sense? Honestly, Brutus, you really know how to examine a weapon by now. Love the little bit of humor to like lighten after that. I think there are some ways to really simplify that section of the tutorial. It felt too bulky, too much explained in one section. find ways to trim it down, or say, for more details, you can look here. Most people just knowing, I have stats, green number is better, is enough. The number of people that get through games just by going, press the optimize button to just automatically wear the best loot, or if the number goes up, put it on. That's all they need to know. Yeah, if feeling tutorial is a bit lengthy, not sure it's because it's on the stream, it just needs trim. I think it does need a little trim. It's going to feel even more painful because we're doing a lot of explaining at this point in time as well, because I'm mindful that we're almost an hour into the stream and we're still in the freaking tutorial, but that's because we're really being analytical here. Normal player would not spend this time. They'd already be in and had some fights. Know how to look at a fucking weapon, alright? Jeez, let's just keep going. Perfect. So at this point, see if inside for Lionel Damien. We're going to kill everything outside first. Okay, perfect. I was wondering if this would be mandatory combat, and it is. Lovely. Alright, let's kill some dudes. Thrall emerged. Oh, okay. The interesting status effects carry over between battles. Now, you could have explained that in a tutorial when learning about the skill, but you didn't need to, because it happened, and now I understand it. And that, I think, is awesome. In all fairness as well, I believe I did purposely tick the buttons to say, yes, I want the tutorials. So I did spend 5 minutes explaining 2 pixels of grass. I did. But yeah, I believe I clicked to the thing to say, yes, give me the tutorial. So a lot of this could have been skipped over for any other average player. But there's always danger in doing that. I always do tutorials because you never know what niche mechanics a game may have that you're not prepared for. Also, I love the little celebratory jump they do before moving on. Alright, Mel's level 2, Brutus level 2. We earned skill points, and now we could actually, level up skills. Alright, I'm gonna hit you first. 246 damage. She's hitting harder than Brutus, who currently has like plus 40% damage on. That's wild. That sword is beastly. Oh, interesting. Okay, you guys wouldn't have been able to tell this. Would have just looked like I went upstairs. But actually, I stand here, I press right once. Automatically goes up the stairs. But not this set. I'm assuming there's a, game design reason for that. But if there is, I don't know what it is. Thrall emerged. Alright. We're killing more villagers. Okay, must have been a crit, yeah. These poor villagers, they'll literally never know what hit them. Okay, so Fire Burst is on like a 15-turn cooldown. That's wild. How much? Let's go for Flurry. I felt like it did less than a normal hit. 28 XP and a spear. Sure. I am now curious to see what the crafting mechanics are going to be. That could be something very cool. Hello. I need to stab you in the back. We are just going to, yeah, can't do more fire bursts, so let's do an ice burst and see what it looks like. Shaboom! Nice little graphical effect. Now this is a question that you can answer, Strak. Are those custom battle animations, or were these ones that you've created and designed yourself as well? Would love to know. This is fascinating. These thralls are hardly violent at all. They're just fighting to defend themselves. I'd love to study them if we have time. See what they'll respond to. Mel, you're not serious. Save your studies for when we're not in enemy territory. There's nothing you need to know about them except the fastest way to kill them. But we could learn so much about them. Maybe we could even find out how they get enthralled, or how to save them. There's no saving them, Mel. If you're gonna fuck around, then wait by the entrance while I kill them myself. Now that is an example of a swear that feels a little out of place. A bit of both. Some acquired resources with quite a few custom edits. Interesting. You don't know that. Right, okay. Acquired resources, few custom edits. Appreciate that you've gone to the extent of customizing some of the ones. I would have no problem if they were resources acquired from elsewhere, because I think for battle animations and things, yeah, okay, totally fine. But maybe if you have some more unique abilities, that's where you would want to go to the extra mile to create some special effects. Brutus does think only about killing. The animals that make these thralls will kill and eat children, Mel. And this is the other thing when it comes to writing. So far, the writing and the dialogue has felt pretty good. would just be careful about characters referring to other characters by name too frequently. Common mistake that comes up in writing. Think about a conversation that you have with your friends. How often do you actually just drop your friend's name in conversation? Like, I'm sitting here chatting with you, Strak. I'd be like, oh yeah, the animals that kill Thralls were 8 children, Strak. Or, you know, we had this problem that happened before, Strak. How do you think about that, Strak? When you name drop too frequently, it pulls you out of the immersion a little bit because it makes it sound a little bit more forced, a little bit more unnatural. Yeah. Brutus thinks he's so cool. He really does. He thinks he's hot shit. Richard! Oh, hi, by the way, Richard. Thanks for stopping by. RPG Maker, nice. Haven't worked with it for a while. I love seeing unique things done in RPG Maker. It's very, very cool. Come take them. I'm desperate for socialization. Without legs, I don't have to go to work at my current job anymore. Well, at least you can come here and have a little bit of socialization. It's nice to see you here, mate. Nothing else I need to know. They deserve no mercy. Alright, I know that, Brutus. Forgive me for wanting to seek better understanding of what kind of creature we're up against. I mean, I agree with Mel here. More reasonable, level-headed. Let's just finish the job. What I will say with the writing is that you've clearly thought about their personalities, and it's coming through in the writing. It'll take a little bit of time to see if they're one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, like how well you've brought them to life. But so far they feel clear and distinct. They're not just cookie cutters of each other. The other thing that I've just noticed that I love is you have included a slight layer of fog on the screen, and you can see it in the parallax as I move down this way, just shifting slightly over the screen, and that's a really lovely touch. Thank you. I appreciate that. I see it and I appreciate it. Hello, I have to see you and you need to die. Sorry, people, but this one's for you. Surprise! Love the little lightning bolt effect. Very cool. I will also say I do love that they dropped to the ground as a corpse rather than it just disappearing in like they've been snapped by Thanos and turned to pixels. That is a lovely, lovely little touch. Hello. More Thralls? Ah, you had green hair. I'm sorry. At one point you may have been a main character, but not today. We missed. Well, that is very unfortunate. You have to die. Boom. There we go. Brutus is doing very good here. Okay. More skill points acquired, which means we have skill points to spend now. Okie dokie, what do we want to do for you? Let's reduce your cooldown by 2 turns. That feels worthwhile. Ah, and one thing that I just noticed, there is no "Are you sure" prompt when you allocate points to a skill. You are locked in from the second that you press it. Ah, and I did notice actually, yeah, and I missed this before, there is a Q for info button. There we go, Sander. This is what we're missing. This is what we were missing. Increases chance of applying statuses with elemental weapons. Type passive costs 1 skill point. Note, activated will... That needs a slight grammar correction there. When activated, will increase the chance of applying burn, freeze, or seize with elemental weapons by 20%. If an enemy is immune to the specific status, activated will have no effect. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. The only thing that I haven't seen so far is how to tell if a weapon is an elemental weapon or not. But that just may be me missing things. That's very, very likely. We're going to hang on to that extra skill point for now. Let's swap over to here. 10 turns to Rage's duration. Let's give 20% defense while Rage is active. That sounds pretty good. I have no control over him, so giving him a little bit more defense feels like it makes sense. Alright, so let's see. Do we have autopilot on these stairs? We do. Okay, so that's the same on both sides. Hello. Also, activate is the name of the skill. Ah! Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Sander. It's not when activated, it's just activated is the skill. Maybe the skill needs a little bit of a change of name there. The other thing, I saw someone mention earlier, let me see if I can spot it. It might have been Raven when I read it earlier up there. No, Harry. Harry came in with a good question. Can you choose to defend / skip a turn to reduce cooldown? And that is something which I spotted here, is at the moment, I have a cover ability. I'm presuming using an item would take my turn as well. So, actually, let's have a look. If I do cover... Okay, didn't do what I expected to do. She has taken cover. If I attack, you come out of cover. Yes, you do. Okay. Now, this is probably an association that I made, and therefore it is my fault for expecting a different outcome. But I guess it's because of my Final Fantasy background. When I hear cover, I think about it as a defensive skill that protects a different character. But actually, it is... Maybe evade would be a better term for it. Alright, your overdrive gauge is now full. When a character has a full overdrive gauge, the gauge will turn iridescent. Great use of the word iridescent. In addition, that character gains access to new and powerful skills. Some of these skills... Sorry, Sander, did I miss a spelling thing somewhere, or was that just being silly? Overdrive. Some of these skills are determined by the class of the character, and some are determined by the equipped weapon of the character. Okay, that's a cool touch. Using one of these skills will deplete the overdrive gauge. Unlike action skills, these skills do not have a cooldown, but can only be used when the overdrive gauge is completely full. Try using an overdrive skill now. I'd love to, but he's dead. We'll try it in the next fight. Thrall emerged. Oh, that one's gone. I'm guessing it's under skills? Yes, so new skills appear here when it is full. So I have an overdrive, power attack, and I have invigorate. Instantly recharges all action skills on the target. I didn't just unlock that. Is that... See, this is interesting. The one on the left very clearly says overdrive. This one does not, but I'm going to try it. But I'm guessing it is an overdrive? No, it is not. No, yes it is. The bar's gone down now. There we go. Hello, please die. Thank you. Brutus the Kill Stealer, absolutely. Right. So yeah, I think a little bit more, like, obviously I can go, oh, those two skills popped up, but had I leveled up, learnt new skills, and then went into overdrive, it may be a little bit unclear as to which ones are overdrive and which not. And it's just a little inconsistency where it's like, well, this one's labeled overdrive, but the other ones weren't. So yeah, what's the qualifying factor there? Did I miss something out here? Gotta kill everything outside first. I thought I did. Who did I miss? Who's not dead yet? Who is hiding? Where are they hiding? Am I an idiot? They're clearly a monk over here. Do I go inside the tent? I do not go inside the tent. But I can explore with murderous intent for someone like you. Right. Hello. Time to die. Very sorry. But yeah, that's just freed up all my skills again. So good to know. I can just build up, use these skills, build up the overdrive gauge, and then Bob's your uncle. I can go back out of that menu as well. Love that. I've played games before where you open a menu and you are locked into it and you cannot back out, and that is always so very frustrating. I cannot rage again for 16 more turns. Kamikaze deals massive damage, leaves the user with 1 HP. We're going to hold off on that. We will just do a power attack on this guy. Lovely little animation. Very cute. Job done. More XP. That's the last of them. They're weaker than I expected. The Neblades must not be very strong if this is all we're dealing with. It's a trap. Well, let's go meet up with Damien and Lionel. I'm sure they've cleared the fort by now. Yeah, absolutely horrible design choice. Non-closable menus. It's like, oh, you press the magic button. Better pick a spell. Actually, there was one terrible game. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me, but it was a mobile game, and I want to say it was by Kemco or something like that. They like mass produce very basic RPGs. But I got to the point where I opened the magic menu, couldn't go backwards because there was no button for it. But I also did not have enough MP to cast any of the spells. So I got softlocked in a menu. No way out. I uninstalled the game at that point. You okay? I don't like this. We didn't even have to fight to get in here. Did you see those thralls outside? Yeah, they were totally passive. It's as though they didn't even know we were there. They haven't been given any commands. Outside of self-preservation, they won't attack us. Either these vampires are ridiculously overconfident or pathetically incompetent. I feel bad for these thralls. They're just victims. Wish there was some way we could save them. Lionel, don't lose your resolve. You know as well as I do that there's no saving them. Once someone's enthralled, they're gone. They may look the same, but whoever that person used to be doesn't exist anymore. The most merciful thing you can do for them is put them down. Sorry, my voice is cracking because I've been talking all day. Yeah, imagine being a wizard trying to cast a spell, misjudge the MP required, and it leaves you paralyzed forever. What if we met a cool vampire named Gregor Blood Magnum, and it was really cool. One can only hope. Alright, let's go. Alright, I know you guys are kind of somewhat peaceful, but I need XP, so you're gonna die now. What skills do we have? None, because I did not unlock any. That's my bad. Okie dokie. Let's... Time for murder, please. Perfect. We also need to give them some equipment. I wonder if that's shared. Do I just magically have access to all my equipment? I do! Awesome! Let's give him a katana. Nope, there is a level requirement. Can't give him a katana just yet, but I can give them this really awesome spear that almost doubles their damage. Except it's level 2, so we'll give them this one instead. Fine. Have that one, but here, have a fancy hat. You deserve it. You look fabulous. We don't want to give you that, and we've got nothing there. You have it. Why are you using a javelin at close range, my dude? That's not how javelins work. What can I give you that is better than what you have? Let's just give you... Even the club deals more damage, but you're obviously meant to be a dexterous little fellow. Have an axe. Love it. What skills do they get? So actually here we have classes. We have a crusader and a hunter. Interesting that hunter doesn't have an actual ranged weapon. Curious to know if there's ranged mechanics, because even like some of the older Final Fantasy games, you have a front line and a back line where you can use ranged weapons more effectively from the back, and it actually increases your defense, but you're a little bit more of a glass cannon. Aura grants plus 2% HP regen. Yes. Love that. You can actually heal. Can you heal others? Increase HP. So this, can I see more info? Yes. Plus 2% HP regen for 15 turns. Scope is only the user. So, yep, can't be used on other people. So it's not a heal for others. Doubles cooldown speed while at full HP. That's nice. I like that. Stat boosts. Interesting. I'll come back to this. We'll play a little bit later, but I might have some feedback for the skills. Oh, there we go. Blessing Aura can now be used on a chosen ally. Yeah. That's only 1% more HP. No. We'll double cooldown speed. That's going to give us more bang for our buck. And Damien conceals the hunter from enemies until the next attack. Okay, so we can basically be defensive. It's invisibility for 1 turn. Killing an enemy reduces cooldown by 1 turn. Okay. Or plus 50% damage while stalking is active. I can see the combo here. Nice. Knife man, precision, accuracy with all weapons, crit chance, crit damage. Okay. Pretty straightforward. We're going to combo with the skills for now. Okay. That gives us some extra stuff, and we've got more chests here for items. Okay, like so far, like even for a tutorial area, now that we've got, I think, hopefully through most of the tutorial bits, I'm just feeling pretty good. It's low level gameplay, my characters feel appropriately strong, most enemies are dying in 1 to 2 hits, which is exactly what I would be expecting at this point in the game. We have another death bloom, okay, and some actual armor. A cuirass. Perfect. Okie dokie. Hello. Time for you to die. I'm very sorry. You did not die. We will try again. Now I just put a second attack on the same guy. Will my attack redirect? Yes, love that. Some of the older games I've played don't have that logic built in, so very pleased to see that. I'm sure it's probably part of like standard combat suite for these games, but I just appreciate it. It's not like, oh, well, the enemy that you targeted's dead now, you're still gonna try and attack him, so you just wasted a turn. Very sorry. I've seen that happen with abilities before. Yeah, Golden Sun did it. Thank you, fellow Golden Sun enjoyer. Love that. I put so many hours into that game. Golden Sun's amazing. There we go. What have we got? We've got lots of things there. We are... No, go back. We don't need to use any of that. But we're level 2, so we can actually use the better weapons now. So, have that spear. Good job, you. You can have the katana. Actually, does that make sense? It doesn't matter. It's early game. We don't need to min-max. There you go. Have some stuff. Min-max for the late game, not the early game. Right. Basic attacks will get the job done. But I like that it gives you an opportunity to play around with some of your abilities here if you actually want to. You know what? We might do that. That guy's speedy and he actually hit us twice. What a jerk. Jerk McJerkface. Custom NPC. Right, skills. We're going to stalk. So, go invisible for a turn. As for me, ooh. Okay, so again, we've got Pierce as an overdrive. I'm assuming Shield is also an overdrive. Then we have a non-overdrive skill called Drive. It's always 50% damage and HP regen. We'll pop that one on, so at least I'm healing a little bit. Alright, you can now come out of cover. No Ooh, we could do a special flurry for that. Why not? We're doing extra damage, so... Can we kill you before you get a turn? No, we can't. Try again. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Very nice. Lionel took a little bit of a beating there, but at least he's regenning, so that's fine. And we stole some clothes. They're dead. They don't need them. Wait. Take a look at this. These chests probably have some loot in them. Should we take a look? Of course. Let's loot whatever we can get. Agreed. If nothing else, we could probably use these chests to stash whatever loot we don't want to carry, but also don't want to lose. This chest looks pretty small, though. I bet it can only fit a couple of weapons and armors. There's a strange aura to it, almost like it's not from this world. Items stored in this chest can be retrieved from other save files. Huh. Interesting. Cross-save item transfer. Didn't see that coming, especially not this early in the game. By using this chest, you can transfer equipment between different files and different playthroughs. This is like going to be good for storing gold. When entering a dungeon, losing a battle will not result in game over. However, any gold and consumable items you are carrying will be lost and will be sent back to the keep. Any gold stored in this chest will be saved and will not disappear upon death. Then we could fit a lot of equipment in this chest. This chest can stash up to 10 weapons, 10 armors, and 10 items. To change the category, press A or S. You can increase capacity of the storage chest later. Very cool. Anyway, let's look inside, see if there's anything we can use. Now, that was a good length tutorial, and a nice way to allude to some of the potential replayability and later mechanics of the game. I think that was great. Is that meant to be in there? Divine chest foil? I mean, it has a damage of 0, a cell value of 0, it's level 1. It's just Spirit Spear Form 1. Sounds like a very special item. I'm going to pick it up and carry it because maybe it'll do something. Occasionally you'll be fined or be rewarded with items that have a unique name and red flavor text. These items categorized either unique and legendary. In addition to the normal item stats and components, items with a red flavor text will have additional unlisted effects. Try them out and see if you can determine their special effects. As you build your forces, you'll eventually be able to appraise items which reveal any hidden special effects. Right, so that is a special item for later. As far as I can judge, because we have a look at this. We have it there. It just says Spirit Spear Form 1, and we know nothing more about it. It does give a bit of dex and accuracy. Be curious to know if it has like a special like XP meter, and you just have to use it enough times in combat, and it starts to level up and it grows with your character. But if I'm understanding this correctly, it would mean that I can play all the way through to endgame, put items in that box, start a new save file, and I can have in-game weapons at the start of the game, and that's kind of cool. Right, more Thralls. Let's deal with these guys. I can flurry again straight away. That's kind of cool. And let's do a drive. Why not? I'm just getting smacked with sticks. Yes. Oh, you missed, Damien. You suck, buddy. Also, can I just say, I appreciate how quickly the ATB gauge fills up. Some of the other ones, you're just like waiting 5 to 10 seconds between moves, waiting for the bar to go up. This, nice and quick. Gets the job done, very little downtime. I'm here for it. Deals increased damage and guarantees an enemy drop. Interesting. Let's go for it. Stealing is fun. And we can... You know what, let's use our sort of shield because we're kind of hurt. Right. Time for you to die, please. Can't use aura again for 16 more turns. My dude's aura is low. Also, I appreciate that some of the weapons have slightly different battle animations as well. Like I noticed there that if you're using a spear type weapon, you'll tend to end up behind the weapon as though you've kind of like dashed through them. Nice touch. There we go. We leveled up and that fixes our HP problem. And we've got a buckler, which goes in the clothing category for some reason. Nope. Nope. Okay. Clothing category of the items. Different here. Okay. That is just all around good. There we go. You can use that. Happy days indeed. Is the blue hat different? Yes, the blue hat is a level 2 hat. I like that. Which color is the superior color? That is the question. Also, hang on. I need to go back up because I am curious. Have I missed something here? Is this lore? It is not lore. I'm disappointed. I was hoping for lore. Okay. Interactable environmental things are something I personally appreciate. Not everyone will be down for that, and I respect that. Hello. I've come here to kill you. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's death. Specifically, yours. Wonderful. We are burning through these guys now. Hello. You are also going to die. I shall poke you with my poking stick. Like that. There I decided not to poke you with the poking stick. These Thralls are just innocent victims. Wish there was a way to save them. We are saving them. We're saving them from future taxes. Can't pay tax if you're dead. Why is this one wearing a bunny outfit? Strak? Are these NPCs, like other characters that we're fighting, randomly selected and I have just gotten some weird luck? Why is... That is very not thematic. Just putting it out there. She had a job. I'm the second person to comment on that character model. Why wouldn't a vampire want a bunny girl Thrall? I mean, a lot of people probably do, let's be honest. Okay, they are random. Yeah, it makes a little bit more sense that this would show up. I think if I had a suggestion, it's that the enemies being randomized feels nice. Keeps the battles kind of fresh and interesting because it's a little bit different each time. But I almost feel like, and again, I might be calling this way too early, I almost feel like each area should have a pool of, let's say, 10 to 20 at most, just because of the work involved, different designs that are pulled for that specific area. And when you're in a different zone, different environment, it pulls from a different group of enemies. That way, the ones that you're looking at are always relatively thematic to the area that you're in. Because so far, a lot of them were like wearing villager attire, and then we had a chef, or what looks like a desert folk, or I think there was a sailor in there, a German boy, and then bunny girl. They just feel a little bit out of place. It's like, okay, we're assuming these are characters that lived in this location. How do we justify that appearance? Right? And it's those little things like our characters thematically fit this environment. Some of it pulls you back out again. Alright, I've been told to go outside and meet them, but I don't want to. There was a chest there, and now I can't get it. That makes me sad. Alright, we clear? How are things outside? No trouble on our end. Got them all. Let's head for the main tower then. But my loot. But my loot. I need my loot. Alright, everyone, be on your toes. If these new bloods are anywhere, it'll be beyond this door. I hate to be a pessimist, but I think you're right, Lionel. This was too easy. I don't think we should just charge in unprepared. Someone should stay behind. What? Why? Raven, yeah, would also mean with each area you'd be thinking, ooh, wonder what the area's enemies will look like. Yes, 100% agree. This looks like a trap. Weak, passive thralls scattered throughout the fort? No real security? I don't care who you are. No one's that careless. I agree. Keeping a lookout while the rest of us deal with the new bloods is a good idea. I'll volunteer. No. You've been the leader of this job. You should be there to deal with them. I'll stay behind. Oh, I don't think so. Damien's pretty smart. If he thinks this is a trap, it probably is. If we're getting attacked from behind, I'm going to be the one to hold this door. I wouldn't want you guys getting in my way. Come on, Brutus. You wouldn't know a trap if it hit you in the face. We need someone perceptive to watch this door. It should be me. We can argue all we want, but we can't waste any more time here. Someone's got to stay. So, yes! Thank you, Strak. Love this. Put some of it on the player, and it basically lets you go, like, it's not explicitly saying it, but it's almost going, well, of the characters that you got to play as, who did you like using the least? Leave that one behind. Now, I'm curious to see what impact this might have on the story. Will there be different dialogue later on, depending on who you've chosen? Or will a character potentially die? Who knows? Does it matter? Probably not too much. But I'm going to leave Damien behind. Damien, I trust your judgment. You know what to look for, so I'm leaving this to you. Understood. I won't let you down. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. Let's go. You can switch your active party leader by pressing A or S. There we go. There's the buttons. Love it. Thank you for letting me customize that. Now, let me just check something here real quick. Yeah. Yeah, Strak. That's your profile picture. You are Lionel. Yeah, I'm ready to enter. Let's go for it. Hello. You weren't there before. Intruders. Just one. He's uglier than I expected. It's just you? I was expecting more. Okay, so yeah, we would have had different dialogue depending on who we chose. More? You think me too weak to have taken these thralls? Very well. Let's end this. Okay. During a boss fight, the HP bar of the boss will be displayed at the top of the screen as opposed to below the battler. Look closely at the HP bar. It's a slightly different color than the other HP bars up to this point. That means the enemy is resistant to a certain element. There's a little graphical flash that's happening each time that I change text box. Not sure if there's a way around that. It might just be because of how the layering is, but yeah, it's almost like it's jumping right to the foreground in between. Presumably because the opaque background of the message bar is vanishing in between messages. An orange HP bar means that the enemy resists fire and burn. Blue means it resists ice and freeze. Purple means it resists shock and seize. Now, you could simplify those ones by saying resist the specific element and its associated debuff. Purple means the enemy resists disease. Green means the enemy resists weak status. Enemy weaknesses can be determined by the shape of the cursor when targeting an enemy. A fireball means that the enemy is weak to fire and burn. Interesting. Glacier means the enemy is weak to ice and freeze. Lightning bolt means the enemy is weak to shock and seize. And a skull means the enemy is susceptible to the weak status. A red arrow indicates that the enemy has no specific weaknesses. Great question, Raven. Does the message change for colorblind settings? Also, yes, this music is much louder than the previous one, so apologies if I'm suddenly talking louder. I'm trying not to. But actually, this may adjust it for you guys. That should bring it down a little bit. Yeah, so I've got to drop it down by about 40%. That says something. Okay. Right, and that's a good point there. It was quite a bit louder. The most dangerous attack. But going back to Ravenand's question, does the message change with colorblind settings? I would almost wonder if a better solution is, rather than having the colored health bar, which I think is kind of nice, if we're thinking about accessibility, it might be better to use the same icons that you're using to indicate weakness to indicate resistance. Just because, basically, if you use the same icon on the health bar, it's got a different meaning to when it is elsewhere in the battlefield. Or you might want to associate it with, like, an up arrow or a down arrow to indicate it as well. There might be other ways that you can get around that. But, yeah, I kind of agree. Relying purely on color could be problematic. And it kind of, weirdly, goes against the great work that you've been doing with making the game more accessible. Okay, examine the bookshelf. Yes, and this is what I love. For more information about status ailments and elements, examine the bookshelf in this room after the battle. Again, something that you could have done with some other parts earlier in the tutorial as well. Nice touch. Right, we are going to put our HP regen on. Actually, no, we'll wait one turn before we do that. Let's just attack for now, and if I've learned anything, it's take out the little dudes first. So if his bar is... yeah, so he's resistant to ice. Fair enough. Yeah, this I'm not so sure about just yet. Doubles the number of hits, each at 40% damage. So I'm basically doing 80% damage. Alright, we're going to take you out. You are going to go into a rage for 30 turns. Because that feels appropriate. I'm guessing as well that meant that some turns pass by while out of combat. Interesting. Actually, no, let's put that back. We're using Ice Burst on... yes, he's weak to fire. We can see the symbol over the head there. That's a nice way of doing it. Have some ice, my dude. Just chill out for a sec. He's getting 3 HP back per turn. Oh, that's cute. Hit me for a 44. I'm sorry, what? That's a little scary. Let's just negate some damage, shall we? This feels appropriate. Fire Burst. Well, actually, I don't want to use that. That's all enemies for 50% damage. Ooh, you got a lot of health, buddy. I would appreciate it if you had slightly less. That's helping. No point using Flurry. And the other guy can't do anything. He's only got Drive, which I don't want to use, so we're just smacking this guy until he dies now. Or we get an Overdrive, which should happen for Mel pretty shortly. Bonk. Just had a thought for something that I would love to see. Strak, don't know if you're familiar with Final Fantasy X. That's probably one of the games that did the ATB system really, really freaking well. And one of the reasons why was in the corner of the screen, it shows chronologically the order of actions that are going to occur. So who gets which turn when. Because what happens in some of these games, it gets a little bit confusing. Like, well, I've assigned all 3 of my characters to perform an attack or do an action or use an item, but I don't know where the NPCs or the enemies ones are going to land. If it's possible, I'm assuming there'd be quite a bit of work that would need to go into it, but having a timeline of who is going when actually really makes it more accessible for new people to the genre, but it also allows for more tactical gameplay. So that if you're going to be using abilities that allow you to like do things faster or earlier, you can actually see that reflected and it feels a lot more impactful. Yeah, it's kind of like queued actions, but it's more that you can see like the turn order ahead. Have a look at some footage of battles in Final Fantasy X. I think you would instantly be able to see what's going on because it's very clearly conveyed through the UI. Yeah, FF10 is the best turn-based combat in the series. If only the plot was any good. Plot's actually not bad. FF10 actually managed to get into like the top Final Fantasy games. I really actually enjoyed what it did. I'm one of those people that I'm a bit weird because I don't like Final Fantasy VII as much as everyone seems to think I should. And actually, this is something that I've noticed here. So I've currently got the attack menu items selected. Can anyone tell me which character I'm asking to perform the action? Who is currently selected to perform the next attack? I don't know. Can't tell. If you rewind and have a look at the menu selections, you might be able to spot it there. But yeah, it's not supposed to happen. Okay, we found something, because there I can see Brutus is selected. But once I go there, Brutus is no longer highlighted. Only just spotted that. There we go. Same thing happened here. So, oops, sorry Brutus, you're dead, mate. Have fun. I could have used an item to save him, but I didn't, because I'm mean. I wanted to see what happened when someone dies. Ooh! And now I get a resuscitate ability. That's kind of cool. Okay. And now, question for me is that specific to Mel, or does every character get that ability? So I'm actually going to use that turn. Yes, every character gets it. And it's not reliant on the overdrive gauge either. So my recommendation would be that this should be an always visible skill. Let the player know straight away that there is a resuscitate ability. I think that might be... It just conveys it a little more clearly. I am actually going to resuscitate him because I'm assuming if I don't, he's going to miss out on XP because he's dead. Let's try an item. Let's see what this looks like. Orange. Oh, we had a firebomb. That would have been cool. We could have absolutely used that in this fight, and it might have actually been helpful. There we go. Okay. Item usage. Cute, like that they run behind the character to actually use it. Alright. You are lined up to die. Didn't I give you a new skill? No, we didn't. Didn't invest in it yet. There we go. And dead. Finals party victorious. Everyone gets 70 XP. Love to see it. Oh! Love that. Very nice. Was not expecting an actual animated NPC death. That was great. Absolutely great. So even if someone had just powered through, because you didn't do that for any of the previous NPC deaths, that tells me this is something that you're going to reserve for only major plot important characters. But it's not something I've seen done in an RPG Maker game before. So that's very cool. Also, very fitting for your tone as well. Way too easy, Brutus died. Love it. Yeah, but that's Lionel saying it was way too easy. Brutus is going to be like, dude, what? This isn't about you. Did you see what you did to me? You let me die, buddy. But no, I love that. Very fitting with the tone. And even if it was someone who maybe skipped the tutorial, just powered their way through the buttons, through the initial combat in the tutorial, this would be probably the moment they sit up and go, hold up, what? Did that just happen? Did that guy just get decapitated? What? That is a moment where I go, you had my interest. No, you had my attention, now you have my interest. That's awesome. What did I miss in the chat there? Richard, the plot of FF10 grew on you. It's the first game in the series built on the hero's journey template versus the style story used in the previous games. Agree. Final Fantasy X took a little bit to get going, but the narrative was actually pretty good. A lot of people mock it for the laughing scene and whatnot, but actually they're missing a lot of the underlying reason behind a lot of that. Naive Medley also says that FF15 would have been top 3 in the series if it had like a year of extra development. Yeah, you know what? I agree with that take. FF15 was one of those games where you're playing through it and you're going, there's so much missed potential here. It could have been absolutely freaking amazing if it just had a bit more time in the oven. But yeah, they released it too soon. And it felt like there was a lot of content that got cut because they didn't have time to make the game they actually wanted to make. I haven't played FF16 yet. No, wait, am I thinking of FF15? Wait. Yes, no, I'm thinking of FF15. FF15 is the boy band game. That's the easiest way to remember it. It's the boy band game. Alright, that was way too easy. Let's check in on Damien. Damien's gonna be dead. Bloody mess everywhere. Nope, he's just gone. It is looking like it's morning now. The fog is gone. He was the vampire all along. Yep, look left, look right. Damien! Oh no. Well, this is awkward. I'm just gonna dodge whatever nonsense you're about to do, given that you're level 99. You didn't do any nonsense. How dare you? I believe there's a button to run. How do I don't think I can run. The run button is not letting me run. I think it was A. I can A run. But also interesting that it just lets me do this and it doesn't come up with a message being like, there's no fleeing from this fight, or it makes the NPC do something to attack me. Curious. Also, his ATB bar hasn't gone up, so what happens when I do this? Interesting. Items. Have a firebomb. You're welcome. Why is... Have I bugged this? Oh, there we go. I'm tired of this game. Be still. I didn't wait enough turns to be able to use my stalking ability. And run. The running did not work. Ugh, I can't move my arms. What's happening? Well, that's unfortunate. You just got hit hard enough to die 7 times. Oh no. Quick, steal his wallet. I was tempted. That would have been really interesting if you can actually get something, but I believe it only gives you additional loot when you win the fight, not immediately. So that's a shame. Hello, you have a bit of a nasty aura. This one has potential, but he seems soft. Are you sure? Oh, my son. That softness will make it easier to tame. It is a deadly specimen, I can tell. This one will do. As you say, Father. We seem to have an audience. Pay them no mind, child. They are nothing but maggots. I'm not gonna shout because people, but rather loud for a maggot. Shall we be off? Indeed. Take the subject. Ooh, okay, we just hey, perfect timing. And away they go in a little splotch of blood. Damien, no. Great choice of music there, by the way. Very thematic, very fitting. Appreciate that. All right, we reconvene. The only thing that would make this scene better, because I think this is the same room we just did the boss fight in, would be the body of the boss tucked away in a corner. So it was a loser party member choice. I like that. Instant, like, motivation to potentially replay the game later. What the fuck just happened? What was that thing? The founding vampires, Dracula and his father, Vlad. The original vampires and the source of all of them. What? It's been nearly a century since they were last spotted, but there's no question it was them. They were far beyond the power of a master vampire or vampire lord. And their aura, very skibbity. Lionel, they're a myth. There's no skibbity records of where vampires really came from. Sorry, I'll stop that. Dracula and Vlad are just fictional characters from storybooks, right? Dracula? Are you fucking kidding me? That urban legend to get kids to eat their vegetables? I want to suck your blood. Give me a break. They're real, Brutus, and they're nothing to make fun of. They're far more dangerous than the stories would make them seem. Raven, like, I gotta leave after that. I would not blame you one bit. I promise not to do that again. I just saw the opportunity and had to go for it. Oh dear. Goddamn brain rot. They've been around for nearly 400 years. I mean, to be fair, the only example I think of brain rot content that I actively enjoy, I've seen a couple of times that like pop up on YouTube now, is the Skyrim intro that is Zoomer brain rot. It's pretty freaking fantastic. It just really hammers home how dumb that like offshoot of the English language is. I don't want to acknowledge it as new slang. It's an offshoot of English. Disgustingly accurate, yeah. The guy who fights vampires for a living has trouble believing Dracula exists. Yeah. How does that happen? And what I will say is, like, some people get to this and go, oh, another freaking Dracula story. But I actually think it's just a nice way of acknowledging the foundation of a lot of vampire stories. I absolutely no qualms with using Dracula as a character. I prefer it to naming a character The Count, because that just makes me think of Sesame Street. Been around for nearly 400 years. They've been around, sorry, I read that again. It's not known where they came from, but some think they were driven out of their own world. They appeared out of nowhere and started taking over the western provinces. Their kind still dominates that part of the continent today. They've been spreading like a virus. We need to get Damien back. Damn right. Let's find those bastards and rip their damn heads off. Brutus, that would be suicide. We'd be killed the moment they took notice of us. They're not mortal, and they have power beyond our understanding. They're the closest thing to gods in this world. Yeah, no, I'll leave that thought. We'll come back to that later. Honestly, decapitating them might not even be enough to kill them. Regardless, I'm not leaving him in the hands of those monsters, but we'd be fools to go in unprepared. We need weapons. Weapons won't be enough. Information is what we really need. I'm gonna call it now. It'd be interesting to... Strak, you don't have to answer this. Feel free to if you want though, but I'm gonna call it now that Damien, or whichever character you happen to leave behind, ends up becoming a boss fight further down the line. If that's not the case, missed opportunity. If that is the case, pretty freaking cool. Love it. Great way to make sure the character stays relevant. And put a little bit of emotional weight behind it as well. We don't even know where Damien's been taken. You're right, but information can expire. Arms and armor won't. Let's find others willing to join our cause, gather supplies, and then we'll look for clues as to where Damien's gone. We can use this place as a base of operations. Yeah, the place that the like all-powerful vampires already know about and have access to without any kind of defense mechanisms. Yeah, perfect place for a base of operations. Love that. I understand. Where should we start? As I said, we need weapons. Armor, 2. Not 3, just 2. I know of a good blacksmith who'd be sympathetic to our cause. His name is Davenport? I can roll with it, but it's a little too close to the name of actual towns. Like, we've got a place near here called Devonport. That's... It might be my personal take, and people are welcome to disagree with me, but I feel like Davenport is not a great character name. Maybe leave it as just Davin. Davin's perfect. Thanks, Davin. We come from the same town. You've told me about him. You think he's still there? Davin from Davenport. Last I heard, he left the town to find better opportunities. Surname goes by his surname. Maybe I should clarify that in text. First name Davin, surname Port. I think is honestly is probably just the usage of the word port in there, because a port always implies a location. And that's like being, oh, my surname's Gregtown. My name's Charlie Mine. Sorry, I don't mean to rag on it that much. It is just a name. But the moment I read that, my brain went, that's the name of a town, not the name of a person. Weaselton. It's Wesselton. Weaselton. I know of a mine nearby that's pretty dangerous, but is known for having plenty of ore. Great, that gives us a place to start. Anything else? I don't know about you, but I don't fancy the idea of fighting on an empty stomach. We should find someone who can bring in supplies. Good thinking. We'll scout the nearby area, see if we can find an armorer and some traders. But let's start with Davenport. We could recruit more members as we go, but this gives us somewhere to start. We should leave as soon as we've gotten some rest. Agreed. Damien. We'll find him, Lionel. Damn right we will. Ha! Did I just get lucky with the timing, or was that an actual added end and fade out to the music track? Because if so, that was a lovely touch to really just hammer home the emotional weight of kind of what they're processing and experiencing. And gotta say, always love seeing little sparkle to indicate, hey, there's a thing here that you should click on. So more tutorial and stuff there if we want it. What is up? What is up, dog? Interesting. Locations for surnames not that rare though. I feel like to avoid confusion, you've got an opportunity to simplify, but again, that's probably just me. He said, just saw a bug. What did I miss? Let's go back. Don't see any bug here. Also, hang on. Hang on a freaking second. That's a map of the world. And not the in-game world, but the real world. Why? This implies that this game is set on Earth. Did I see a man behind the curtain up over here? What visual bug did I miss? I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of an odd rocky outcrop on the edge of this tree, but nothing else is really jumping out at me from here. Everything else looks pretty good. It's very atmospheric, loving the rays of light coming through. Hang on. Might see it right away when I leave. Okay, let's have a look. We come down here, we leave. I mean, there's a horse down there. Nothing else is jumping out at me here, but I'm wondering, I feel like I wasn't supposed to come out of this place. So I thought up here is where the other characters were. So is there a room in this castle that's just disappeared? Or the other room was the room in here? Maybe I'm just misremembering. Yeah, no, it was this room. This is what I was thinking of. Okay. We're all good then. Now the question is that chest still here? Oh, the chest is gone. That makes me sad. But I'm guessing this is actually going to get filled with NPCs later. And if that's the case, that's going to be a very nice touch. Anything hiding down here? So we had the guillotine. Yeah. Okay, yes. Any treasure that was here is now gone. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Let's get back up. Okay. Hi, horse. Cart is not attached to you, but that's fine. Probably not supposed to be yet. We'll see if it gets attached later. What? A horse? No, that is a bear in disguise. I didn't see you on the way in. She must have been driven off by the vampires. Let's use her to travel around and mount up when we're ready to leave. Maybe it's the vampire's horse. Maybe it's a vampire horse. Did we hire a vampire horse? Well, of course. Would you like to leave the Hollow Keep? Yes, let's leave the keep. I want to see where this expands to. Also, here, we are seeing a little bit of the world. This doesn't look like the map that we just saw. Alright, 2, Bloodstone Mine. Yes, and I love that it gives a little bit of reminder of what we're actually doing on this screen. That's a nice touch. It's like, oh yeah, there's a thing to do here. That's one thing that I always like forget when I'm in RPGs. You check a quest log and it's like, oh yeah, go to this location. You open up the map, see a whole list of location, go, crap, which one was it? I'm not used to the names yet. Show me where I need to go. That's nice. Alright, here we are. This is the place? Yeah. You're sure he's here, Mel? It's impossible to know for sure, but I know him. This mine has some pretty dangerous monsters in it, but it's known for having lots of ore. It's just the place that Davenport would be drawn to. Strak, I thought it looked like the transition point was a tile to the left. Found this all the time, think the easy fix. Oh yeah, I did not spot it. I missed that. So, we're just here on a hunch. We won't know until we check. Let's get inside. Agreed. Alright, let's check out the mines. Those little musical stings associated with the transitions, if that's all queued up and intentional, that is fan-freaking-tastic. I love that. The way music interacts with gameplay is always something that's fascinated me, and I love seeing it used in interesting and intriguing ways. Ooh, and the little cave drop ambience there as well was pretty nice. Yeah, and Sander, actually, great shout. I had that thought to call it out before, but I totally forgot, so thank you for reminding me. I absolutely agree. It must be difficult to write dialogue with every party member being conditional. I don't know how you've done this, if you've had to write a version of the script that changes for each possible party combination, of which I'm guessing there's 4. I could do the math, but I'm not. No, it must be 3 different combinations. No, 4 combinations, because you can have 4 different characters that you leave behind. So have you written 4 sets of scripts? Because if so, that's impressive, my friend. Anytime you enter a dungeon, the layout will be randomized. As a result, no 2 runs through a dungeon will be the same. If you get too close to a monster, they will chase you for a short distance. If they touch you, a battle will start with that monster. If you lose a battle in the dungeon, you'll lose all gold and consumable items that you're carrying and be transported back to Hollow Keep. You will not lose any weapons or armors. I'm also just noticing that I now have 2 enemies that are right next to me. You might want to make like the first time that you enter the dungeon, the first little room is a set layout, which means that the player can't get attacked until they explore outside of it a little bit. Because now, as soon as I finish this text, I'm going to have to do 2 back-to-back battles before I even get to explore the mine. And as a player, that doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel really like breakingly bad. It's just not fantastic. Might just be my bad luck with this randomly generated dungeon. In addition, if you save and quit while in a dungeon, it will be treated the same way as losing a battle, costing you your items and gold and losing your progress in the dungeon. Yeah, don't activate enemy movement or AI until the player finishes the text, yeah. Although I will admit, like, seeing the slimes just moving around in the background to just help make this feel a little bit more alive, which was a nice touch. Okay. Right, straight into a fight, and they're all level 3. Okay, we have a fire slime. I wonder if that's immune to fire skills. Probably. Yep, weak to ice. Love to see it. Well, let's, you know, if we've got an elemental advantage, let's take advantage of it. You didn't die, and that makes me sad. Let's see. You, though, are absolutely going to rage, because that's how we make you the most effective. Yeah, see, now I'm like purposely waiting a little bit just so I can see how some actions play out before I lock in my next skills. Okay, cool. He's dead. Love that they turn into a little puddle on the side. That's great. Did I use ice? Did I use the wrong thing? I thought I used ice. Let's see if we get another one. We'll try it again. Oh, we have a weak slime. Okay, so if I remember correctly, that symbol should mean that they're weak to... No, green was like... You actually want to use weak or something. As a status effect that I don't have. I know that much. Let's just go for some big damage. Beautiful. No, I'm an idiot. I used fire. I'm I'm dumb. That totally on me. I used fire when I meant to use ice. My words got in the way of thinking. That's a thing that happens. Whoa! That is one hell of a power attack. Great stuff, Mel. Also, disappointing because I got a warp now. Very cool. I like that. I just want to rewind the VOD just a little bit. You'll be able to find out what I actually cast. The cooldown is on fire, so evidently I used fire. But I thought I saw an ice animation, so maybe I'm losing my mind. But yeah, also just realizing that any equipment that I had put on the other dude is gone, which means my lovely katana that I had is gone. So interesting. My damage doesn't go down when I equip that. My dex goes up. Huh. Didn't see that coming. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll put that on for now. Switch back to fire for about 1 frame. Interesting. I don't know if that was actually something I did or not. Let's see. Staff actually does slightly more damage, but worse in other stats, so we'll go with what we've got. And then lastly, Brutus, what have you got? Just a basic sword, because you're a basic bitch. Perfect. He doesn't do tactics, but he will wear a fancy hat. Because why not? Let's just quickly do some skills. What do we have here? 2% evasion while aura is active. 2% accuracy while it's active. That is the one that we want to get to. So of these two, I'll go extra evasion. Let's go to Mel with your elementalist. And you know what? We are actually going to do irresistible. Increase the chance of applying status effects when using burst skills. Just makes the skills even more impactful to use. Again, reminding using control, I have to wonder how. I mean, with my fingers. Let's see. That one needs 3. We don't have enough skill points. Using rage at 30 HP or less will fully restore HP. That's pretty cool. Alright, so this is the part that I'm very intrigued by, and I apologize it's taking us so long to get here, guys, but yeah, these dungeons are randomly generated. And I find that very interesting, because I'm assuming what you've done is you've taken, and it looks like I can see it here, basically square rooms, which you basically use like large tiles with openings, like corridors that can connect together as a puzzle piece. So there's always an opening at the top and bottom here and on the side, so you can kind of link them together in an interesting looking way. Also, these enemies respawned back where I was. Huh. Alright, let's try this again. I'm using Ice Burst. Let's check that. Yep, Ice Burst on this guy. There we go. That's what we expect to see. Now, die please. Really? We left him with that little tiny sliver of HP. Good job. Although I think I did realize like what my RPG fanatic brain is missing at the moment. And that is a victory fanfare. I would be impressed if you managed to work something into the music in the same way that you've done in other areas. And like it's a victory fanfare, but it flows and layers with the music would be very impressive. But I would also say that is a level of effort that you do not need to go to. It's a snake. Nope, it's a snack. It's a snack. If anyone gets that reference, you are officially old. Right, he needs fire. Guess what? I have fire. Burn, little snake. Just leaves what looks like the tail behind. Yeah, mushroom, absolutely. Alright. Typical early game RPG, spam basic attacks and everything will die. Richard knew it, Sander knew it, excellent. Ah, so this one has left behind an item. No, it didn't leave behind an item, that was already on the ground. That's why I went there. Dum-dum. You have a chest, though. Knife and a cape. I'm sorry, 39 damage on that knife? Don't mind if I do. Let's just have a quick peek at that. Yeah! Yeah, that looks alright. A little bit less accurate, more crit chance. We'll take it. Now, I'm mindful that I can, like, destroy some of this equipment, but I'm not going to worry about it just yet. Why does that sword look like it's dripping? It's not just me, right? Near the hilt, it looks like it's dripping. Also, this might just be me, but I don't think that's the right spelling of a brooch. I think it should be B-R-O-O-C-H. Unless there is a different type of brooch that I'm just not aware of. Entirely possible, I do not know everything. How good is that sword? That sword is very good. It's a level 4 sword. Now we're going on a 4-sword adventure. Have a shield. It gives you more HP. Although I am curious, if I take the HP off, yeah, that puts me back down to 129. Okay, good. You've worked it in a way that equipping and unequipping items does not heal you by that amount. Yeah, that's okay. So I had the wrong pronunciation in my head. It's a brooch, not a brooch, not a brooch. That way around. English is weird as a language. I'm going to spell this one way, but you pronounce it a different way. Just because, deal with it. I read a thing a while about the English language, basically just taking a whole bunch of other decent languages out into the back alley and shaking them for loose grammar. And that's how English was invented. Fire cherry, sure, we'll take that. Anything interesting over here? No, not at all. But I appreciate that it's there, because it looks very pretty. So we have a hole that we can drop down, but I'm going to check the rest of this area first. Because we have a dude. And also, I noticed Mel is kind of weak. Your greatsword's not bad, but the regular sword is slightly better. Yeah, have the knife. That works. Hi, okay, you came running. There's a lot of you. Let's see. That'll let us take out one. Or we can go straight with that. Love it. That didn't look like it did much at all. There's okay. We are not kamikazing. That's a terrible idea. But we will just wipe this guy out. I'd be curious to know as well if there's going to be any area of effect spells. Haven't seen any yet. Doesn't mean they don't exist. Zappy zappy, very dead. Mel, you're a little bit hurt. We'll heal you up after this fight. Just don't die. Yeah. Good, good, good. Okay. I do appreciate that there's not actually random battles. It is all visible in the field, so you can pick and choose if you actually want to fight them or not. So thank you. I love seeing that. Player choice is important. Yeah, I'm not going to go too wild on the healing items just yet. What I can't see, though, are character stats. Unless I'm missing something here, I don't see a way to be able to see, for example... oh, no, it's there. I can see what I'm looking for. The green bar in the freaking middle of the screen is their current XP. So they've almost leveled up. Yeah, we'll go down a floor. Do the enemies get stronger? Probably. Let's see what level this guy is. Still level 4. That's fine. We can deal with you. We've got overdrive. We might as well use it. This has changed because she now has a different weapon. It was not execution before. That's different. So Mel does adapt based on the weapon being used. That's cool. Okay. So, yeah, I remember it saying that there are some that are character specific and some that are weapon specific. So I love that as a little touch. We are going to rage again. Rage against the snakes. Okay, we want Ice Burst on you. Get out of here. One dead snake. Which is not looking the best. Never misses. Deals 75% damage with increased crit. Huh. I like things like that. I like that it exists. I probably won't use it, but I like that it exists. Also, I hope he's not poisoned, but he's nearly dead. Hang in there, buddy. Yeah, leveled up and he's still nearly dead. That's, unfortunate. Let's get you here. Also, you have a status effect that we can't cure. Actually, that is one thing that I've noticed with these games. I don't have a way, at least as far as I can see, of being able to see what that status effect is from this menu. Yeah, can't see anything there. Can't see it there. The other thing that I would like to be able to see are my current skill points for each character on this screen without having to go into the skills menu to then see it. Would be nice to be able to have more visibility of that. Well, that's maybe just me being a bit pedantic. Let's give you more defense. It's only one skill point, and that's 20% more, which is quite substantial. Okay. Anything else good for you to have? Status with elemental weapons, damage with elemental weapons. Nah. And you still only have 2 points, but we can give you thorn damage. Or we just make it last longer. Might also be good. You don't need to be burning all the time. That's a terrible idea. No, actually, we're going to leave it because I want to get that one for 3 points. You need one more level up, and then we'll grab that. That just feels like it makes sense. Okay. There was that bookshelf that I'm pretty sure you never looked at. Yeah, exactly. I'm the average gamer. I don't want to read. Lionel. Why do you only have 17 HP? I thought... Did I not heal you? Did I forget to heal him after all of that? Take cover, my dude. You need fire, so we'll take you out. Shaboom. And other dude's raging, so he'll just hit. Perfect. Good hit. Oh, there we go. He's healed up to 83. What did I miss? How did he just gain so much health back? Was that from using cover? Huh. We might have to try that again and see what happens. Put you back in cover. Yes! They heal when they're in cover. Okay. That is a mechanic that would have benefited from being explained. I'm wondering if that was what Strak was going to say. Oh, we figured it out. We're pro gamers. I will take a weak herb. Ah, it's the weak status. That's what we were looking at. Okay. We still have a bit to go to get another level up. Let's just heal you real quick. 35%. Boom. Also like that as percentage because it means that those items don't become redundant later in the game. They're always useful healing items. Okay, we could just drop to the next floor there if we wanted to, but I will take 10 gold. We're trying to find Davenport. Where are you, buddy? Are you a Thrall? See, again, if we're doing thematic NPCs, this is where all of these guys could be wearing mining gear, carrying different mining tools like a pickaxe, sledgehammer, lantern, things like that. Canary in a cage. Actually, it was tutorialized, but only if you drop below half health at any point while clearing the keep, just not the boss fight. Gotcha. Interesting. Well, glad I figured it out. And it's interesting because often I don't use defensive options in game. I'm very much the best defense is a good offense. But I like games that encourage it by making those skills feel more valuable. Give me a good reason to use it. Even if it's just, hey, this fight you can't beat just by brute forcing your way through. Alright, we're going to use this skill on you. And the rest of you can just keep hitting away. Now that I know healing is not that bad. Also, I appreciate, it's a little thing, but the cursor over the enemy's head actually moves with the enemy if the enemy goes to attack. Like, I've seen games that just don't do that. It will just stay in place where the enemy is meant to be. So the fact that it moves with the enemy, it's a nice little subtle thing, but I appreciate it. Okay, can't tell who's equipped, so it's you. You do have overdrive to use. Let's just take you out. You need fire. And we're just going to smack you in the face. Okay. If anything, the ATB gauge actually maybe goes up slightly too fast. By the time I'd finished issuing orders to the group, the first guy's got his like gauge full again and is ready to go. It was almost slightly too quick. Yeah, you can pop that on. Why not? Ah, and we forgot to put the brooch on. Defense, resistance, HP. Yeah, perfect. Have a brooch. Any of these? Whoa! Some of these capes are way better. Ah, that's maybe a little thing that's missing that could be a nice quality of life. So, when I'm looking at items in my inventory here, you've color-coded the rarities, which makes it very nice and clear to see, oh, this is, you know, uncommon, rare, super rare, whatever labels you've used, right? What's not clear to see is if I have 5 pieces of body gear and 3 of them have the same name but different icons, I can't instinctively tell which ones are better or worse. Having even next to it, just like cape level 1, cape level 2, cape level 3, very quick and easy about to go, oh, right, here we go, I need to put that one on. Yeah, so many little subtle differences. I think I can kind of see Sanders' comments come through there saying, yeah, this kind of gear min-maxing seems exhausting to me. It's not really criticism because some people love it, but whoo! I feel like I've been given an okay amount of gear, but maybe the differences between the gear is just too much for this stage of the game. At this point in time, I'm honestly probably just going to put something in each category that I can, and then leave it at that. Ah, oh, okay. That said, lovely little touch. The clothing actually changes the appearance. Holy cow, hang on. Blue cape? Blue cape. Black cape? Black cape. You didn't need to do that, but I love that you did. That, yeah, absolutely you earned some extra points from me for that. That's great. I still stand by Sanders' criticism. It's maybe like the incremental differences are slightly too neat, but the fact that it appears in game, and so far I think it's only been the cape I've seen that does that, is actually really lovely touch and great for building more connection with the characters. So nice stuff. That is a level 6 snake. Hello, you got stronger. We're not going to worry about that. We are just going to smack. And no, we don't need to use anything. We'll just hit you. I'm wearing a pretty little yellow dress and you should fear me. Alright, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I mean. I'm now getting so much gear. I'm like, I really don't think I'm going to worry about too much of looking at this. Whereas if I could instantly see, oh, this one's a level 5 gear now, that makes me go, oh, I'm only wearing level 4. Yeah, of course, I'll swap that out for level 5 gear. But when I have to go back into the menu and go through into equipment and then choose the category, and then I can see if it's better or worse than what I'm currently wearing, it'll get to the point where it's like, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to salvage it all. Also, I have too much stuff. At this point in time, I don't know what I do and don't need. I probably need that. We'll just salvage the remaining loot. That's fine. As my bag is pretty much full. Yeah, 5 important decisions instead of 50 decisions that have 1% impact of each. Richard, one of those people who really like the choices when it comes to which piece of equipment is best for each character. Yes, but I think especially this early on in the game, I feel slightly inundated with too much to choose from that only makes small differences. I would rather have less equipment that make a more significant difference, if that makes sense. Yeah, inventory management has been a big issue. It's something we've been battling since we started. Honestly, I think the answer is to slightly decrease the amount of equipment that you get. Or, I understand it, making that many decisions makes me want to not engage with the system. Yes, that's my feeling as well. I'm like, I'm getting too many things come through. I'm having to make too many choices. I just want to progress through this dungeon, but it's now taking about 4 to 5 times long as it feels like it should because I'm having to make so many choices about my gear. Yes, getting stat increases and better gear can feel good. They're those little dopamine hits to go, ooh, this is better, nice, let's use it. But when it's not significant enough or it's too frequent, it loses its impact. So if anything, what might be better is to reduce the item pool and go, well, rather than having 4 different knives with different randomized stats on each of them, go, well, the randomization is just which weapons you're going to get. You might get a knife, might get a spear, might get a sword. You might get 3 spears from the same fight if you're really unlucky, but all 3 of those spears will have the same stats. And actually, a huge quality of life thing that you could add in is something that goes auto-salvage duplicate items. That streamlines the process of gathering loot. It streamlines the process of sorting them because you already know if it's duplicate, it has the same stats. And it encourages weapon and gear diversity because you will by default go, well, it's just easier to salvage things. I'll just give my other 2 characters different gear to make them actually somewhat more diverse in terms of their playstyle. So that would be my recommendation. Do an auto salvage that basically checks for anything that is currently equipped or in the inventory, that the player choose between those 2 settings, and just boom, instantly get rid of it. It'll encourage engaging with the crafting system more as well, especially if your crafting system that we haven't even looked at yet has the ability to go, you already have this in your bag, but you don't have these ones because you didn't find them. And it will just let you have the option like to be able to see that in the crafting menu. So you can easily go, oh, I'm going to craft these because I want to see what it does. The only thing that would take this potentially like to the very next level is to go, different weapons will give your character access to a different basic skill. Because at the moment you go, well, if when your overdrive is full, you get a different skill based on the weapon you've got equipped. What if you went, you get a different standard skill? So your attack skill changes based on the weapon you've got equipped. Not massively. Could be something like slightly higher crit chance, things like that. A lot of that's already in there, but there's a way that you could make those weapon differences feel more impactful. Throwing some food for thought out there, I think there's a lot of potential in this system. I think there's just maybe too much going on too early. And I would be curious to see, did my overdrive hit miss? Did I do something wrong there? I think it actually did. What was I going to say? No, lost the thought. Come back to it later. Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of potential in this system. Did play around with the skill diversity idea a bit. Didn't go very well. I think the idea is sound, just the execution was bad. I think you're onto something that could be very special here. You've clearly spent a lot of time and energy putting some of these systems into the game. Like, it cannot have been easy. There's a lot of work, clearly, that's gone on here. But I wonder if some of it is maybe just in slightly the wrong area. I mean that in the nicest way. Yeah, let's just take you out. Nope, did not work. Mel, you're going to have to hide next turn. Never mind. You can hide by taking cover in a little puddle on the ground. That works. Let's get you back up before Brutus just finishes the enemy off. Stand up, soldier! You're not dead yet. On your feet. Now, the other thing I'm wondering about is if you regenerate HP when you're in cover, it would also be nice if you slowly regenerated HP while walking around. Maybe that's just my personal preference. Maybe that's a dumb idea. You'd have to see how it goes for overall balance. But that kind of feels like it would be nice. Because now, like, I start a fight and I have to go into cover. Otherwise, she is just going to immediately die. Also, why can't I use that? My overdrive is full. Ah, because I have the status effect on me that makes it so I can't do that. Makes sense. No, you stay in cover, thank you very much. Yeah, but that one felt like it took a while for the animation. Okay, and now you can jump back in there and try and kill something. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Richard. That recovering HP while walking would just incentivize walking in a circle until fully healed. Could work in a game with random encounters, but probably not as well as this is. Maybe it can only heal you up to a certain percentage. So, for example, maybe if you are able to walk around in a circle... I mean, if you want to waste your time doing that, sure. But maybe it can only heal you up to like 25% or something. It's like if you happen to escape a battle with the bare minimum health, you've got no healing items, it would let you get back up high enough so that maybe you can like press on through one more fight. You might want to have that risk rewards feeling to it of, yeah, I reckon I could take out the next round of enemies in one hit, so that I can finish this and get out of here. Would be interesting. That said, I don't know any other RPGs that take that approach to non-combat healing. Maybe actually a better solution would be that you can find items, like maybe accessories or a ring or something that can give some kind of passive regeneration to a cap, rather than having it just be as standard. Feels maybe better if it's something that the player has to work for. Alright, so there we go. Healing items. Because that's what I'm finding at the moment. It's like, I'm kind of struggling on the healing front here. Also, I forgot, Brutus, you need that skill, which means if you're at 30% or less HP and you use Rage, you go back up to full. That's kind of nice. That's a big slime! I both love and kind of find amusing that it is just a regular slime, but big. It is literally big slime. I'm fine with that. That is what I would expect. Alright, let's just make you immune to damage. Why are both of those characters flashing? Is that going to hit both of them? It hits everyone. Brutus wasn't flashing though. Huh. Okay. And you're down. Very nice. Ah yes, it's Lionel's party. Okay. Now though, and again, maybe this is like how the gameplay loop will typically work. As I go, oh, I got a green item. Nice. And I imagine it probably gets to the point of the game where you, like in Diablo or something like that, you'll go, I'm not even going to look at a certain quality of loot anymore. So having a little bit of a setting in here, which I don't think I saw in here. No, there's accessibilities, there's controls. Which, hang on, can I actually get out of this? Yep, that's fine. Yeah, nothing in here to do with loot handling. Would love to have a section on here that lets the player set some rules, such as, yeah, auto salvage any normal quality item or uncommon quality, so that you can basically go, yep, I am at a spot where maybe I'm grinding for certain weapons or upgrades, and I can just go, don't care if it's a certain threshold or below. that would probably be a good quality of life to include when you've got a loot system like this, which is very inventory management heavy, I would say. Okay, I think we're going to go a little further. I'm guessing that we probably need to get to either floor 5 or 10 to find this Davenport guy. But that is just an assumption. I have no basis for it. But then we're probably going to wrap things up pretty soon after that, because I think we've seen most of what we want to see. Let's see. So I'm kind of curious, like, how they introduce some NPCs and where we go from there. But otherwise, feeling pretty good about what we've seen so far. This has definitely done enough so far that I would go, yeah, this is interesting. I want to spend a little bit more time exploring this and seeing where it goes. Although that said, I mean, we'll see how much further I need to go through here, but this could also be potentially a stopping point for players. They're going like, how far do I need to go through this? Or if something goes wrong and they die and they go all the way back out, that would probably be a break point where they go, I'm not going through 5 levels of that dungeon again. I'm quitting. I'm good, thank you. So I would... Let's see where it gets to, but my hunch is that you might want to have Davenport slightly earlier in this cave. Don't drive your player away through repetition too early in the game. No, we don't want fire. We want an ice burst on that one. Thank you. Do we think Brutus is at the right HP level? Solid, maybe. Ooh, this is getting a bit tight, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. Still can't heal. I'll keep smacking you. He's not dead, so this should heal him up to full. Yay, love to see it. Good stuff. Now die. So I can't... No, 21 turns left before I can use that again. My goodness. Dueling 6 enters a solid maybe. Yeah, maybe a checkpoint floor every 5 floors with a few healing items or a healing fountain or one of those special chests. Ooh, you could do some interesting risk reward, because I'm assuming you come back here fairly often for XP grinding, loot grinding, etc. There we go. So that's a weapon I'm actually going to take a look at and go, is this any good? Yes, that is. That is a huge damage upgrade. That's what feels good to get. And this is what looks confusing. That's a level 5, that's a level 6. So a level 6... Oh, that has 10 defense. Yeah, nah. Defense is more important than HP. Yeah, never mind. I take it back. Just happens to be that the goggles have a higher HP stat, but that's about it. Okay. Davenport, where are you, my friend? But what I was saying, based on Richard's idea, is you could do an interesting risk-reward one where it's like, oh, we'll give you a healing fountain every 5 floors, or you can choose not to take it, and your chance of getting rare items goes up. That could be an interesting way of doing things. Definitely encourage some more risky gameplay, but sometimes that's for fun. Let the player choose how much risk they want to take. Still love the little celebratory party hop. That's quite fun. Alright, is this where we need to be? I thought so. Saw a chest down here before. Shock root that I can't take. And don't have a choice but to salvage. Would be nice to be able to back away from that so I can choose, oh, I want to use something else in my inventory and then take that item. But I'm locked into that menu. Actually, I don't think I could go back out of it. I had to choose yes or no. Oh, I need a golden key. Wonderful. Have not found one of those yet. Well, sucks to suck, I guess. Maybe... Oh, hello, Mr. Cultist. What an interesting cast of characters we have here. Okay. Do you like my poking stick? I use it to poke. Yeah, well, let's use Pierce on that one. Wow, you just took a lot of damage. We're not going to use that right now. We'll finish you off. Okay, perfect. And then we can just hide next time to get some... You know, we've got plenty of items. Let's use some items. Because they're ones that heal and recover. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to use those. But I should. I should just do it. Doesn't really matter. Shock bomb. There we go. Hello. Oh, just one. But it is level 7. Don't underestimate it. I'm going to underestimate it. That worked. Shovel Knight did a similar thing. Okay, you could use a save point or destroy it to get some extra money. That is interesting. I've not played Shovel Knight yet. That is sitting on my backlog. Well, we've not found a golden key, so we're just going to carry on. Hey, there we go. We found it. Okay, that felt like it was a couple levels too far. Who is behind me, hiding behind that rock on the side? Davenport? Is that you? Stay back. There's a rat somewhere. And I just ignored your instructions and have snuck up behind you. What was that? Davenport, are you okay? Stop! Get back! That is a spider. Yeah, look out. What the f- Kill it! Self-censoring. Good job. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Cool. Let's just ignore any damage for a few turns. That would be nice. And you know what? Let's just do regular attacks. Let's let you get a little bit hurt and then we'll let you rage. That sounds more fun. Oh, this is going to be a long fight. Well, we may also use some magic. You're not really doing much else. You're kind of not getting hurt, so you know what? Screw it. You're raging now. Hey, Brutus was too shocked to be edgy and cool. Can't be edgy and cool all the time, man. It takes energy. And like, we may as well use the magic because we'll use overdrive and get that back. Watch out! It's going for the element. Oh, god damn it. We're introducing changing elements. I shouldn't have used the magic. Well, fine. Do what you gotta do, I guess. At least I had my freeze, which just happened to be the spell that I need. Bonk. That didn't look good. That looked like a counterattack. We're gonna cover. Which almost feels like it should be called cower. But in terms of the boss fight, love the additional mechanic here of going, you know what? Yeah, this is going to change and you need to adapt to it. So it just took a chunk of its own health off to change element. At least that's what it looked like. If so, cool. Like that. Becomes an endurance thing instead. Oh yeah, you're dead. Whoops. Right as I press cover. Back on your feet. Ah, and there is a block chance. Neat. You're dead as well. This is not going according to plan. Let's put it that way. You're already doing a resuscitate, aren't you? Spider going first? What's happening here? That was not the button I meant to press, but we're there now. Let's use an item. What are we gonna do? All these give 20%. That's the best that we got. Now get healed. Because Brutus is dead. No point getting him back up. Brutus is dead. Well, good. We have a more challenging boss fight. I appreciate that. Lionel, you're the tank. Just stay alive. Mel, how does 1 HP feel? You alright there? Yeah, you're fine. You're going to cover. You're going to cover. You cast a lightning bolt. I did not see that coming. But I guess I should have. You've gone elemental, so, you know. That's going to happen. Also, that music is still quite loud. And I still have the volume turned down to 60%. So, yeah. It sounds like maybe the first track was actually out of balance and it was quieter. And everything else is actually balanced the same. Maybe that's what needs to be checked. Alright, well, we can just let you die enough times and then you'll be able to heal yourself anyway using rage. Yep, there we go. Down again. Perfect. Just like I planned. We don't even have the... Yeah, we do. I can hit you with a shock burst. Let's see what that does. Shaboom! 400 damage. Scoop. Yep, dead. On your feet, soldier! Oh, fine. I really don't want to, though. I was just having a nice little nap in the dirt. Love the little hop away as we dodged. Pop a shield. I told Brutus to resuscitate... That... Okay. That just happened out of order. And that's why having the list is going to be better. Because I told Brutus to resuscitate Mel. Unless that had a cast time and I missed it. I thought those would still be instantaneous. Maybe there's a cast time and I missed that. Let's check. Does something like Fire Burst have a cast time? Nope, that's instant. Okay. Because I was confused why that went out of order there, but that's okay. That now makes sense. Don't want to use drive. Smack. All right, Lionel really carried the team there. Good job, Lionel. A fiery club. Sounds like a good place to be. Well, let's just put the sword back over there. I'll take that. You know what? It's kind of weird because I may as well maximize my inventory so that I can salvage things later and turn into craftables. Davenport, are you all right? I'm fine. The wound's shallow. Do you remember me? Of course. It's good to see you alive, Mel. But we can catch up later. First, come. It is safe now. Davy. You brought a child to a place like this? What the fuck is wrong with you? Watch your mouth around the child. I had no choice. It was that, or leave her to the beasts. Beasts? You mean the spider? No. The beasts back home, the bloodsuckers. Mel, I'm sorry. Your home. It is lost. I've forgotten where we left it. What? The town is overrun. The beasts came and took everyone. Those who weren't skilled became one of them, or one of their cattle. It was all I could do to escape with the child. That's impossible. There's no one left? I cannot say. But I doubt any would have survived. I can't believe it. Mel. No, I don't believe it. There must be some survivors. We should go and look for them. We will. But first, Davenport, who is this child? I'm Emily. One of my favorite lines from a very stupid movie. You lost a lot of blood, but we found most of it. Good news. Davy saved me, and you saved Davy. I guess that means you're friends? Yes, Emily, we're friends. It's wonderful to meet you. Mel, why are you here? We need you to make us weapons. You're fighting back against the beasts. Yes, we've been hunting vampires together for a couple of years now. Nothing major, mostly isolated new bloods for now. We've got a stronghold, but one of our own has been taken. We're trying to get him back, but we need equipment. You see this ore? Do you know what it is? That's elemental ore, yeah. Stones and metals that have absorbed elemental energy over the years, changing its properties. Which begs the question, what elemental energies are they absorbing in this mine? Maybe this is something that's expanded upon later. Maybe lower floors do have specific elemental energies associated with them and the ore's more plentiful there. But immediately my mind goes, we have obviously 4 different colored gemstones in this area, therefore there was the presence of 4 different elements. The spider was absorbing them, not generating them. So yeah, maybe it just seeps into the ground from being used, but from where and from what? Like, That's where my mind goes. Don't know if those questions are answered later, but it's an interesting lore thing. I came here looking for this. With all like this, I can forge elemental weapons and armors. I had intended to forge myself a good weapon and kill the beast back home. I realized I forgot to do the voice partway through that sentence, that's on me. But I know that would be a death wish. I am no fighter, and I stand no chance by myself. If forging weapons for you means striking back against the beast, then I'm your man.
I want to help too. I can't do much, but I can help Davy keep his things organized. Please, please, please.
We'll take all the help we can get, and it'll be safer to keep you at the fort anyway. You're welcome to come along. Excellent. Then let's get out of this place. Lead the way. Good fun. Nice. Short, simple, gives a little bit more backstory. Liking it so far. This place is empty. You said nothing about this. Where are your allies? Hey, looking, find a mirror? It's you. Sorry, we're looking for more members, but we had to start somewhere. We started with you. More like we didn't know who else to start with.
But if there are any survivors at my hometown, I'm sure we could take them in. Can't we start there?
No, I do not think anyone's alive. That place is crawling with beasts. It's not worth the risk. We won't abandon your home, Mel. Let's go see who we can find.
Thank you, Lionel, but Davenport is right. It will be risky. I still think we should go, but it might be worth getting a bit stronger first.
You've become strong, Mel. I say as I can't bring myself to look at your face. It reminds me of the daughter I never had. And I'm glad to see you this way as I purposefully don't look at you. If you were to go, I think you would survive. But you will need allies that can help in other ways. I would suggest a tailor or packmaster if you can find one. Huh? What do we need a tailor for? What's he gonna do, sew the vampires to death? Are you always this stupid boy? You can't carry much in those packs of yours. If you're to enter a vampire's lair, you'll want to carry as much as possible. And if I'm going to be making weapons for you, you'll need somewhere to store them. That's good advice. Thank you, Davenport. Damien used to hang out with some sketchy guys, but they knew how to stash goods. We could probably find someone at the Jagged Lagoon. Not to be rude, but I've not eaten in quite some time. I am absolutely fucking famished. I mean, not in front of the child. I'm rather hungry. Is there any food? Not as much as we'd like, but help yourself to whatever you can find. You don't have a supplier? You'll starve before killing any more vampires at this rate. True, but we can't eat without defending ourselves. Equipment was the priority, and we don't know who to contact. Jafar is your man. You can find cheap goods just about anywhere, and he's easy to befriend. He often trades with caravans in the Lyre Forest.
That's perfect. Thank you, Davenport. We'll definitely look for him.
And with that, we should get to work. But I've got some potential allies, so let's go find them. Agreed. Hold up! It's Dracula! In armor. What? Mortals? What are you doing here? We could ask you the same question.
I heard this place was a den of vampires. I came to hunt them down. Not that I really stand much chance on my own.
A bit late to the party, bud. We killed them already.
What? Wait, so you vampire hunters?
To an extent. Why?
Looking for more members? Well, yeah, but we usually don't take strangers on the road with us. Is there anything else you can do?
Honestly, I'm not a great fighter. I just couldn't stand the nobles in this area who only want their own lands protected and do nothing to fight back. I figured I'd rather go out fighting than sit in a villa all day long watching someone get fat. Also, I do like that all the other characters are named. Soldier is just soldier, no name for them, at least not yet. But if you're fighting back against the vampires, I'll do whatever I can to help. Sorry, but trust is kind of hard to earn these days. You know, vampires and all. Like Mel said, we're not keen on taking strangers with us. Wait,
If you three are going out on the road to find more members, who's staying here to protect the keep? I can't protect Emily by myself, no. I've already proven that I am a weak, weak man. Hey, I'll do guard duty any day. I'm used to it. I just hated defending someone who didn't give a rat's ass about anyone but himself. And yeah, I may not be much good on my own, but it's a lot easier to defend a fort than it is to hunt something down. Not a bad idea. What do you guys think? Sounds fine. Hell, might be nice to have someone watching out over our back while we sleep. Alright, welcome to the party. Great! You won't regret this. And, you know, I got some buddies who might be willing to help out as well. I'll reach out to them, see if I can't get more people to join. That's perfect. Get yourself set up in the chambers in the basement of the fort and help yourself to anything you need. Well, I should be off. We've got work to do. Damn right. I'll set up the forge downstairs. Come see me if you need more equipment. Will do. Let's move out.
Fantastic. Love that. Okay. Makes me very curious as to how like these mechanics work when you actually leave. Random events happen that could impact, you know, the other people that you recruit and hire, or is that actually just a little bit of flavor text, a little bit of thematic storytelling? But either way, like especially in the daytime, this place is lovely. Really like how it looks during the day. There we go. There's our soldiers hanging out. Feel like sparring? These wooden posts make for good targets if you want to test out your weapons and skills. Cool. I imagine that's extra tutorial mechanic there. All right. And then we've got our list of objectives as well. This actually is like feeling really solid so far, and there's a lot of added mechanics in here that I wouldn't necessarily be expecting in this kind of game. So I want to say congratulations and well done. Like, there's clearly a lot of heart and soul that's been going into this. We are going to wrap up here. We'll let this continue with some background noise there. And then I'm going to bring this up. Let's decide on this together if this is something that we want to do moving forward. But I have very quickly thrown together this. Which I don't know if we'll do this as a consistent thing, but I think it could be kind of fun. Just to give a little bit of a score and to help us think about the feedback at the end of this. So while I'm voicing my thoughts, I would love for everyone to also share theirs in terms of what you've seen so far and where you're at. It's super cool, but spreadsheet, I know, I kind of want to find a nicer way to do it, but it's the first thing that came to mind when I was thinking about this. It was kind of a last minute addition. We might not do this going forward because it kind of feels a bit bad, a bit mean in some ways to be like, oh no, we're going to start scoring things. But what I was thinking is we could basically rank each of these on a scale 1 to 5, and that will give us a final score. But more than anything, it's to have some kind of way to be able to focus conversation on each of these key topics. There might be something here that I've missed, and it might be nice to do something more. Also hate the fact that I've divided it into 6, because that gives a final score out of 60, which just feels a bit weird. There's probably other categories that we could put on here if we want to like elaborate a bit more. But this is mostly to help guide conversation rather than to provide an actual score. Yeah, and it's worth keeping in mind, it's not a finished game. This is all about constructive feedback and seeing where we can go. It's not to be able to look back on and go, oh yeah, Strak, they made the game called Thrall. We gave it a score of like 25 out of 60. Not worth looking at it. That's not what this is about. Not even close. In fact, I might get rid of the final score column because I think it's actually kind of irrelevant. We don't care about that. We're just wanting to think about what are some talking points for this. So, presentation, I personally think I would give a 4 out of 5 for that. And I would be surprised, honestly, with a lot of these if there's perfect rankings anywhere along here. Yeah, I can see it being discouraging to some people who aren't sure about the game yet. And it would always be like, I kind of want to give like a final current score, but also like a predicted final score might be the way to go. It's like, well, if you implement these changes, I think your game has the potential to end up at this point. That maybe could be an interesting way of doing it. Like I said, trying this out, it might not make it past the first episode. Wanted to see how this went. But think about the presentation. If I think about like the game visually, I actually think it's quite nice. I feel like you've taken a lot of the fundamentals of things that you can do with RPG Maker,
You've already said like you customize all of the sprites. There's a lot of variety from a graphical perspective. I'm not feeling like I'm seeing the same tree consistently, the same NPC consistently. Probably as I was fighting the Thralls, I probably did fight the same NPC model multiple times. I know the German boy, I think, was called out a couple of times on there. But as a player, I didn't retain that information long enough for it to be noticeable. So combine that with some of the lovely environmental things that you've done. Actually, I'm just noticing that you guys are probably going to struggle to read chat while it's on there. What I might do, let me just... nope, doesn't want to do that. Let's... No, okay, cool. Thanks. Let's just do that. And that way we can still see a bit of chat on the side there as well. Yeah, some of the layering you've done with the graphics in terms of like the lighting effects, the ambience, particle effects, and glow on campfires, things like that. Visually, it's actually kind of pretty. When you put it up against something like the HD remasters of like the Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest games, okay, yeah, it's going to be very different. But for what it is, which is an RPG Maker game, you've clearly put in effort to take it above and beyond what the engine is normally capable of, what it comes as with the fundamentals. So definitely giving high score for you on there. When I'm thinking about presentation, I'm also thinking about the menu layout and how that feels to navigate. Everything is very clearly presented. I was able to find information that I was looking for, maybe with the exception of being able to see debuff and status effects from within the menu. Get that those are explained elsewhere, and you're probably expected as the player to retain and remember that information, but it's something that maybe just could have been presented slightly differently. I think there's a little bit of room for polish on there, and I think that comes from the way the NPCs were presented. Some of them just felt a little out of place. So keeping things more thematic, because you've really established more of a mature tone for your game, I think would be what takes us to the next step. Always keep in mind what your desired theme is, and when you're implementing something, you've got to ask yourself the question, does this fit with my theme or does it not? There might be a time and place for something fun like a bunny girl, maybe a secret hidden level somewhere. But that one struck me and pulled me out, and I went, what? Why is this here? Santa using a paid asset pack by Stiliana, but I've done a lot of work on polishing the finishing the maps, etc. The maps designed by you, of course. Awesome. Love to hear that. Yeah, so I think a 4 out of 5 feels pretty appropriate here. Narrative, I'm also going to give a 4 out of 5. I think it's quite strong. You've stuck to source material that people are going to be instantly familiar with. People know about vampires, know about Dracula. You've been able to quickly establish a bit of a hierarchy. There's lore that's been dropped for your characters, but nothing too crazy over the top. In fact, actually, I just had an idea. What I'm going to do is let's just Alt Enter, make that go small, and then we can actually have this on the side of the screen, so we've got a little bit of a visual reference to some of the stuff as well. Isn't that cute? Isn't that nice? We're up there. There's the game we're talking about. There's Thrall. I think as I covered earlier, Yuval, Amor, hello, how are you? Bit late to the stream. Yeah, we've just wrapped up the gameplay. We're into a bit of a debrief discussion phase. We're getting serious about things. So feel free to go back and watch through the VOD to see some snippets of what the gameplay and things are actually like. But yeah, this will give you a nice overview of what you missed out on. But thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you being here. So back to narrative. What I was talking about was that I felt that the conversational style, the way the characters interact with each other, was pretty awesome. It felt, for the most part, pretty natural and fluid, with a couple of exceptions here or there, with characters maybe referring to each other by name a little bit more than you need to. I would say in a game where you don't have text and maybe it's more spoken and you're listening to dialogue, having the name drops makes more sense because the player might not be reading it on screen. But when you have the text on screen and you have the character's name already visible, it makes it feel slightly redundant. So I'm counting that as part of the narrative because it's all about the storytelling, right? But otherwise, this story's done enough to make me intrigued to start with. You've gone, okay, well, we've clearly set up the premise. We've had a character that got kidnapped, don't know what's happening to them. We've got enemy characters which are already established in this world that are acting suspicious, but we don't understand why. We've now introduced some things to do with elementals, and we've very clearly set out, this is our home base of operations. We're going to build this up, and we're going to find more people to actually flesh this place out and make the characters more powerful. Strak, I know I hear it in my head differently from how others read it. Hearing someone else read it out loud helped a lot. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Yuval, what are your thoughts on being a small YouTuber? I hope you don't mind. Feel free to hold that question for a little bit later. I want to make sure we stay focused on the conversation here around the game, but I'm happy to answer that question later if you like. I don't want to make you feel like you're being ignored. I want to let you know I've seen it. I hear it. But I just want to make sure we don't lose too much of our train of thought here. So, moving on to sound design. I think I actually want to give this one a pretty high score. Ooh, let me think about this. Things that you did well. Music has been on point. Everything's been fitting really nicely thematically. I love the way you've worked in some of the little crescendos and kind of done some interesting techniques to tail off the music after ending dialogue in cutscenes. That feels really nice, and slick is probably the word that I would use. It's very satisfying when that moment happens. What I did notice and didn't really... Yeah, music volume needs to be balanced, I agree, but your music choices are pretty on point. What I did notice is a bit of a lack of sound effects for menu navigation, text dialogue progression, and combat. I mean, there's a couple of battle sounds maybe a bit too tinky. They felt stock, I think is probably the best word I can use for it. They didn't sound bad, but some of them were maybe not as impactful as they could have been. That said, from everything that I know about sound design and engineering, trying to get the right levels of impact, crunchiness, texture to those very short snippets is pretty challenging. So I'm not 100% sure what you can do in that department, but I would definitely have a closer look at it. But yeah, off the top of my head, I can't even remember. I don't think there was any sound when navigating menus. I could be misremembering. Again, if I were doing this as like a full proper review, I would go back and review footage and be like, yep, were there sounds, were there not? In fact, hell, I still have the game open. I can... Okay, there's a little blip there. And there are little subtle thumps as you move left and right. So it's subtle, actually. Yeah, you know what? No, I take that back. That is about right. You don't want it being any more obnoxious than that. And yeah, you even had unique save sound effects. No, I retract that. Sound effects for menus, totally fine. No problems there at all. So I'm going to give that another solid 4 out of 5. I don't think there's anything bad there. It doesn't feel average. It feels above average to me. Okay. So, just knocking my microphone all the way around there. Let's go for controls. I don't think there's anything I could really critique here. Everything worked in the way I wanted to. Even had the gamepad working when it wasn't supposed to work. But from what I saw of the menu controls on keyboards, yeah, it gives the ability to flick back and forth between them. Like, yeah, why did the controller work? I don't know. I'm not using X input or anything like that either. It just natively worked, which is a miracle. I'm giving you a 5 for controls. I don't think there's anything that I would change on there. Everything works the way I would expect it to work, and you've added in a couple of quality life bits as well around navigating menus, so no complaints there. Gameplay. Thinking about moment to moment. I think the pacing in the opening is maybe a little slow, especially with the way the tutorials were working. I think that we spent a lot of time talking through the tutorials and the way that could potentially be reworked, so I would probably definitely focus on that to start with to make that opening experience more engaging. The biggest thing that I've heard from listening to other YouTubers, and I 100% agree with, people that have said this before, so echoing a lot of people by saying this, but the opening 15 to 30 minutes, hell, the opening 5 minutes of your game should be the most polished and best representation of your game that you can present to your player. Because if you're not able to showcase what your game can do within those opening minutes, you are going to lose your potential player base. If you think about games that you love as a player, think about the way that you spend your first minutes in that game. What do they get you to do? How is it presented? And what you often find is that the things that they get you to do are the fun core gameplay loops that you're going to be coming back to time and time again, and that are very, very satisfying to experience. I think we've gone on enough. I think you already know what needs to happen in that section. Outside of that, I would be interested to spend a little bit more time in this game and see where the combat mechanics evolve to, because he started doing some interesting things in boss fights. And now that I've seen 2 of them, first boss fight, large group of enemies, one stronger than the rest, pretty straightforward, hits like a tank. And then you had second boss fight where it started introducing environmental, elemental changes that the player needs to adapt to. I would be very interested to see where you take that and evolve those boss fights. Because now that you've established that level of variety, you need to be able to keep that level of variety going. Because now that you've done it, the player is going to anticipate that the next boss fight will have a different mechanic again. And so will the next one, and so will the next one. So you've almost set yourself a challenge by doing that you need to keep being inventive with how each of the different boss fights play out. And they need to be thematic to what it is that the player is fighting as well. You're working on better diversifying the enemies, giving them unique traits, things like having slimes combined to bigger slimes, stuff like that. That feels appropriate for a boss fight, not for the 5th fight that you've done on the same floor of the mines. Don't go too overboard and over-engineer it, because the other danger is that you're going to spend so much time on this that it's impossible to actually release your game. Be selective with how and when you want to implement those things, because what you just described there, slimes that combine into bigger slimes, that is a great mechanic for a boss fight, not for an everyday fight. Because that's one where you go, oh, well, now the player has to balance trying to kill the main body of the slime with trying to kill the additional slimes that are spawned, because they might heal or buff the main slime and they just keep spawning. That feels like a boss fight. If you did that as a common occurrence, one just wandering around the dungeon, that would get old pretty quick. It'd be fun the first time, not fun the 100th time. And that's where you need to think about these things. Boss fights are fights where you go, that was a really fun and engaging one-off that made me think differently. I'm glad I don't have to do that 100 times in a row. At least that's my take on it. So I think you've got a lot of potential with what you can do with the gameplay. How you balance that is going to be crucial, and I think key to driving and retaining player engagement. I would also say within this gameplay section, I want to discuss the loot system. We've touched on it a bit already. I love the idea of the randomized loot. That's borrowing a lot of traits from ARPGs with the randomized loot, different rarities, modifiers, etc. I think we've given some good tips on there. So things I think we covered off with things like adding in an indicator of the level to the equipment so that you can see at a glance how it compares to things that you've maybe already got equipped. Adding in loot filters to be able to automatically dismantle things, and adding in mechanics for auto dismantling duplicates in order to what's I looking for? Encourage class diversity a little bit more as well. So yeah, I think there's a few things you can do there. So this is going to feel a little bit mean, but I'm going to give you a 3 on the gameplay. And that's because I'm going to score you a 5 on the innovation. Because I think you're doing some really interesting things on the innovation front with some of the ways that you're doing the storytelling, interaction in the cutscenes, the more mature themes, as well as the loot mechanics in themselves as well. I think that's all quite innovative, because I personally haven't seen that in an RPG Maker game before. It's an interesting mix of genres I haven't seen. What I think what that means is you've got potential to raise that gameplay up to a 4 or a 5, which is quite exciting. Did I do my sum on that wrong? That is doing it correctly on there. This feels weirdly low. Oh, because it's out of 5. No, duh. It's going to be out of 30. So that's actually looking pretty good. Yeah, also wonder we didn't go too far. Love getting rare things just on principle. Absolutely agree. There are elite enemies that can rarely spawn that always drop rare loot but can be a challenge just encountered during the stream. Would like to know if those ones are visually indicated in the play area or if you don't find those until you actually engage with them in combat. Because that's the kind of thing, like, I would want to be able to see on the map that that is an elite enemy. Maybe it just has a different color or a different outline or a marker, something over its head that indicates that that is an elite. And therefore, I can choose if I want to engage with it in a fight or not. Weirdly enough, what I would also say is I would make those ones non-aggressive. Because that way it is 100% down to player choice and balancing that risk-reward aspect. So I think final thoughts are that this is looking really, really good. You've got a really solid foundation that you're working with, and I'm excited to see where you take this. I think it just needs to be refined in a few aspects. I think almost where you're in danger of, Strak, and I mean this in the nicest way possible because I think you're doing some cool stuff, is that you're in danger of cramming in too many ideas and making things more complex and more complicated than they need to be for the kind of game that you're creating and the kind of game that the player expects. I think there is a time and place for some of the levels of complexity that you want to introduce. But again, I keep coming back to the gear system and the loot probably as the biggest pain point that I think Sander rightfully identified. And I think with a little bit of tweaking, you can make that a really interesting and engaging system that doesn't make the player feel like they're overwhelmed with choice. Because you're clearly doing some wonderful things with these systems, the way you do the random level design, the enemy encounters, the boss fights. It's just, how do you keep that to a scale that is going to allow you to actually finish a game? That is probably the thing that you need to keep in mind. So I would suggest almost like taking a moment after this and going back and going, what is it that I want to achieve with my game? What are the core mechanics that are going to make me stand out from the crowd? How do I implement these in a way that fit with my theme and are player friendly to engage with? Because almost the loot system went too hard too fast. There'll be someone who picks up and goes, oh my god, this is amazing. But 99% of players will go, slow down. And yeah, great questions, Sander. How done is the game from a content perspective? So I think you said earlier that it is technically still in a demo, but there's a decent amount of content that's available in its current state. I think I saw on your website as well that you said that this would be available, I want to say you'd put on there later, sometime next year, no, 2026 I think is what you put on it. Unless I'm misremembering. I don't think I've got the website up anymore, that's unfortunate. I can't grab the link. Yes, I can. It's in the description. Let me just grab that. And we'll pop that in there. Then we can have a look. Yeah. And I love the page that you've got here as well. It shows off the art and the design quite nicely. You even show off a little bit of the loot system there as well, which is pretty nice. I love the pro. This is dope, bro. By bro. Great quote. Where did I see it here? Was it in this bit? Updated 26 days ago? No. I must be missing it. I thought I saw in here somewhere where you had an approximate release. Demo is approximately 2 hours of gameplay that we managed to stretch to 3, and we're not even at the end of it yet. Full release of approximately 30 hours of gameplay per playthrough and features New Game Plus, which I love. Oh, there we go. July 1st, 2026. Knew it was on there somewhere. Okay. Sadly, got about another year to go. Got the game scoped out. Mechanics are pretty much done. Just need polishing and tweaking. Yeah, agree. I think you're onto something pretty special here, and I hope that this game gets the attention that it deserves when it goes into the full release. I think this has the potential to go up to at least a 28 out of 30. I think you're always going to be limited somewhat by the use of RPG Maker, but I hope you prove me wrong. Let me put it that way. I honestly hope you prove me wrong. But no, I think if you have the ability to raise that up to at least a 5, sound design, narrative, you could probably put those to 5s quite easily as well, to a point where you're going to be like super happy with it. And keep in mind, like 5 out of 5 doesn't mean this is on par with a AAA game. I think it means, like, to me, a 5 out of 5 means I think you've done everything that you could possibly do within the scope of what you're trying to achieve, if that makes sense. Alright, I think I've ranted on about my opinions and my thoughts for long enough, so let's jump over here. Let's wrap this up, because I want to say a massive thank you, Strak, for letting me feature your game, for letting me critique it and share my thoughts. I feel very privileged to be in this position. Hopefully everyone else has found this kind of enjoyable, to be able to see a little bit of kind of a breakdown of the games. It probably gives you a bit of an insight as to where my mind goes when I'm playing through games for Steam Sequence as well, and my thoughts when I'm crafting those reviews. Bit of a peek behind the curtain, I guess. But yeah, no, thank you, Strak. I hope, yeah, incredibly valuable feedback, exactly where my mind was going. I would definitely like to be able to feature the final product further down the line as well, to see some of the changes that you implement. But yeah, I would definitely like to hear some thoughts from people that have hung out in this stream or are watching the VOD back later. Pop over to the Discord, let me know your thoughts on the format. Do we keep the score rankings at the end, or do we just strip the scores away and use them as conversational talking points to recap what we saw during the gameplay? To me, that maybe feels more the way to go than giving an actual scoring system. But otherwise, I'm very excited to see where we can take this forward in the future. Yuvil, yes, to go back to your question, how's it feel being a small YouTuber? It feels, honestly, it feels good. This is a stage of the channel where I never thought it would ever get to. I thought I'd be perpetually releasing content on YouTube, and I would be very, very lucky to hit an audience of 1,000 subscribers after 5 years, if I was lucky. So to be, we just ticked over today 42,000 on the channel, which is mind-blowing to me that we're creeping close to 50k. It still feels weird to me that you guys want to hang out and actually listen to me talk. Strange. I don't quite know why you guys are here, but I think at the end of the day we've all just got a shared passion, and that's what brings us together, and it's that we love seeing weird and wonderful games, and we're passionate about the games that we play as well. So I, like, more than anything, the channel can do as well or as poorly as it does at the end of the day. What I appreciate is the community that's formed around the channel, because I don't think I could ask for a better group of people to be part of this. So as always, thank you to every single one of you. You're what make this channel so goddamn special. But yeah, it's fun being a small YouTuber. I'm excited to see where this goes in the future. For me personally, the biggest win would be to be able to turn this into a full-time job. Still a long, long way away from that yet, but that would be the dream, because then I could make more content for you guys. And that's really what I want to be here to do. So there you go. There's your answer to the question, Yuvil. I hope that satisfied your curiosity. Also, I just saw 25 minutes ago we had someone subscribe to the channel called Sneezes Christ, and that is a brilliant username. Sneezes, if you happen to watch this later, awesome. Alright, on that note, let's end it there. Again, thank you very much, Strak, for allowing me to feature your game. Best of luck with the continued development on the project. I'm excited to see where this goes. To everyone else, thank you very much again for being here and trying out this new format. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday when we return with the next Wheel of Misfortune stream with added bingo madness. It's going to be fun. Until then, take care. I'll see you around.